Okay, hello everyone watching. All three of you. So look, hit the like button as you come in, please, if you don't mind. I do that. Okay, so tonight what we're going to talk about Project 2025. I'm glad that you're here to join in. Joy Reid from the Readout did a full show on MSNBC last night. And I wanted to show it live, but you have to be subscribed to MSNBC. Well, I happen to have Peacock, so it's always going to be the day after that you get to see the show, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to hold on, let me put this ticker up. I am going to show it. We're going to commentate on it, of course, because that's what you have to do on YouTube. So you don't get a strike because you're doing commentary, and we'll go from there. I watched some of it. It's pretty good because she's breaking it down to like the bare minimum, and she also have people on the show that are talking about certain issues with Project 2025, such as income, wages, affirmative action, and things like that. So well, I hope you get some sound this time because I think I figured it out. So please hit the like button as you come in. So let's go for that. Let's see. All right. This should work. And if you don't hear sound, please let me know.
Tonight on the Readout.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Do you believe if Donald Trump were elected next year that he would try to stay in office beyond a second term? That he would never leave office?
There's no question.
You think he would try to stay in power forever?
Absolutely.
The stakes could not be higher. Trump says if he wins, you won't have to vote anymore. Tonight, we are laying out the dangers of Project 2025, the manifesto that would give him that authoritarian power, limit your rights, and force you and your family to change the way you live your life. And we begin this special episode of The Readout tonight with a dire warning for our democracy. Over the next hour, I will lay out the greatest threat to the American democratic experiment in modern times. And it's called Project 2025. With just 99 days till Election Day, and with voting starting a lot sooner than that in some states like Pennsylvania, where early voting begins in September, it is imperative that every American understand what Project 2025 is about and how it would affect every single one of us if it was ever enacted. Tonight is just the first of many nights where we will dig into this dangerous plan. And I really want you to listen, learn, take notes, and share it with everyone you know. And if you look on your screen, you'll notice that QR code where you can find our segments on Project 2025 so you can share them. So let's start with the basics. This is the 922-page MAGA manifesto. We printed the whole thing out, and it's brought to you by one of the most conservative DC think tanks, the Heritage Foundation. This is the culmination of nearly 50 years of work that began during the Reagan administration. Broadly, according to Heritage President Kevin Roberts, this is a Christian nationalist plan to end what he calls the Great Awakening and, quote, rescue our kids, reclaim our culture, revive our economy, and defeat the anti-American left at home and abroad. This manifesto, which they call a book, is a specific roadmap on how to accomplish that by giving a Republican president unprecedented power. They do that by slashing the federal government's footprint, gutting regulations, slashing the money we spend on children, students, the elderly, the environment, education, and reproductive health care. Every single chapter describes in excruciating detail how to reorder our society by dismantling federal agencies and limiting the federal government's ability to help protect you, the American people, from predatory businesses, excessive taxes, poisoned air and water, you name it. Lately, former President Donald Trump and his campaign, fearful of how unpopular Project 2025 is, have claimed they have nothing to do with it.
I don't know what the hell it is. It's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it.
Yeah, but that's not the complete picture. Here is Trump promoting the Heritage Foundation and their little project just 2 years ago.
Heritage does such an incredible job, and they're going to lay the groundwork and detail plans for exactly what our movement will do and what your movement will do when the American people give us a colossal mandate to save America. And that's coming. That's coming.
Here's the other truth. Roughly 140 individuals who worked in Trump's administration are affiliated with Project 2025, including 6 former cabinet secretaries and 4 people who were nominated as ambassadors by Trump. The others were either key figures from his first transition, close Oval Office allies, or mid-level agency officials. There's Russell Vought, Trump's former Office of Management and Budget Director, who wrote Chapter 2 in the section titled Taking the Reins of Federal Government. In this chapter, he lays out how to consolidate power around a president's political vision. He explains how you can bypass Congress and only fund projects that ensure consistency with the president's agenda. He is rumored to be Trump's choice for chief of staff. And according to Politico, he and Trump speak once a month. Vought hopes his close relationship with Trump will elevate Christian nationalism as a focal point of a second Trump administration. Then there's Roger Severino, a former Trump administration DOJ official, who wrote Chapter 14 about the Department of Health and Human Services and how to restrict abortion access across the country. Severino is a dogmatic anti-abortion militant who strongly believes that an America that allows abortion cannot survive.
The federal government has an absolute role in this. There cannot be now 2 Americas. One America where unborn life is protected and another where unborn life is treated as the equivalent of medical waste.
Yeah.
Right. That is untenable. This has to be settled nationally. A house divided against itself cannot stand.
Yeah.
We can't have 2 classes of Americans.
In Project 2025, he advocates for using the regulatory powers of the Department of Health and Human Services, the Food and Drug Administration, and the Department of Justice and the National Institutes of Health to end access to mifepristone, prohibit stem cell research, and create, quote, pro-life task force in the White House. There's also Richard Hanania, who helped contribute to Project 2025. Now, he's not a recognizable name, but he's a popular conservative activist with fans like J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel, and Elon Musk, who just so happens to be a noted racist and sexist. The Huffington Post reported that Hanania used a fake pen name to write articles and social media posts that expressed support for eugenics and forced sterilization of, quote, low IQ people, whom he argued were most often Black. And he dreamed about a white awakening, which is when whites en masse realize that they are superior to non-whites and that they'd be better off abandoning multiracial democracy for something resembling a whites-only ethno-state. While those guys are cooking up plans for how the government would work and who it would work for, John McEntee, Trump's former body man and former director of his presidential personnel office, is working with Project 2025 to build the enforcement army. He is currently a senior advisor at Project 2025 with the single task of creating a resume database of dedicated MAGA warriors to staff up every agency. Well, the ones that they don't shutter completely, like the Department of Education, on day one. Here's what McEntee wrote when he took the job. Quote, "The presidential personnel database will be of extraordinary value for the 47th president because we are doing a lot of the incoming administration's most important work ahead of time," unquote. Then there is Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, a self-described radicalized Republican who is a champion of Kevin Roberts and his plan to turn the Heritage Foundation into the de facto institutional home of Trumpism. Here you see Vance and Roberts together on a panel last year at an event hosted by the Intercollegiate Institute, which is a conservative organization for college students. This particular discussion was about regime change and the future of liberalism. Guess what else? Kevin Roberts has a book coming out in September, and J.D. Vance wrote the foreword to that book in which he praises Roberts' vision for America. He also wrote, "We are now all realizing that it's time to circle the wagons and load the muskets. In the fights that lay ahead, these ideas are an essential weapon." Vance's current political ideology lines up pretty succinctly with that of Project 2025, and his backing of Kevin Roberts, along with his frequent appearances on Tucker Carlson's talk show, might explain why he is on the Trump ticket. This clip from his Senate campaign run might also have helped too.
I think that what Trump should do, like if I was giving him one piece of advice, fire every single mid-level bureaucrat, every civil servant in the administrative state, replace them with our people. Yeah, I mean, I think we got to do the hard work of institution building. And again, I've got friends who are working on this very problem right now, such that if there is a Trump administration round 2 or a DeSantis or a Hawley administration, that we actually have the bureaucracy in place so that that person can govern effectively and not be constantly undercut.
Trump, Vance, future staffers, future administration officials, and all of his former employees support parts or all of Project 2025. Do we really think that they would not implement these ideas if given the chance? Up next, I will detail for you explicitly the things they intend to do, from redirecting how we see ourselves socially, how we build our society, how we get by, and most importantly, and the one I worry about the most, how they will completely end how government functions, leaving a less safe, less prosperous, less free country for the majority of Americans.
Detect
Okay,
this.
so-
Living with HIV, Craig learned he can stay undetectable with fewer medicines. That's why he switched to Dovato. Dovato is a complete HIV treatment for some adults.
So-
no other complete HIV pill uses fewer medicines to help keep you
It's
undetectable
very
than
interesting
Dovato.
so far.
Detect this. Leo learned that most HIV pills contain 3 or 4 medicines. Dovato is as effective with just 2. If you have hepatitis B, don't stop Dovato without talking to your doctor. Don't take Dovato if you're allergic to its ingredients or taking difetalide. This can cause serious or life-threatening side effects. If you have a rash or allergic reaction.
Okay, so anyway, hey. Okay, thank you, Keyshawn. So the way they're going to break this down is so good because when I watched it, I watched some of it and I was very like, wow, some of the stuff I didn't even know because I hadn't even gotten to it yet. But yeah, I think this is I think her doing this is good for us as well. So, you know, because we were trying to go through the whole thing as well. And when I tell you it's so much, and a lot of it you don't understand because some of the words they use and some of the things that they say. I mean, as well as, you know, they talk about, I don't think I can say abortion, but they talk about, you know, a woman's right to choose a lot of times. And they're going to talk about that in this. And she just broke it down a little bit within an hour, but they're going to have more episodes about Project 2025. Apparently she's going to try to do it all the way up until election time. So same thing that we were doing over here. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to keep talking about it, like I said, until election time as well. I will be back on Sundays. I think she goes on Monday nights and she talks about it. And we'll just keep talking about it. We got to get this in your head so people understand, so you all can, you know, let people know, because a lot of people still don't know anything about it. They really don't. A lot of people don't want to hear about it. Okay. So like I said, this is very important, and it is especially important for Black people, because when we get down to this is like 40 minutes long. So when you get down to it, they're going to talk about affirmative action and how it's going to affect Black people. Okay. All of this, because they're already trying to get rid of they got rid of some of affirmative action. It's going to show you how racist this document is, or book.
Reaction symptoms. Stop Dovato and get medical help right away. Serious or life-threatening lactic acid buildup and liver problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems, or if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or considering pregnancy. Dovato may
So it's very important. That's all we have to do. All we have to do is vote. But a lot of people don't even want to do that, Keyshawn. So I find it very interesting as well. Okay, so it's back.
When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality.
On its face, you just saw another viral clip of J.D. Vance being weird about Americans needing to have more babies. But this position, which is blatantly anti-democratic, captures how future leaders of a second Trump administration likely define family in the first place. Project 2025 is rooted in Christian nationalism. The architects want to change the framework of our society to restore the family as they understand it as the centerpiece of American life. And their version of family is defined in a very specific way, where only white Christian men have power, and they get to exercise it over how their wives and children and the rest of us exist in the world. The sole purpose of women in their perfect society is to, of course, have babies, even if it kills them. Abortion is mentioned 199 times in the Project 2025 manifesto. As part of the project's wish list, Republicans are calling to regulate pregnancy and abortion by misinterpreting a 19th century law known as the Comstock Act to ban the mailing of drugs used in medication abortions. It doesn't stop there. Project 2025 also calls for gutting protections for the LGBTQ community by stripping away federal non-discrimination protections and eliminating all transgender health care under Medicare and Medicaid. Joining me now is Robert P. Jones, president and founder of the Public Religion Research Institute and author of The Hidden Roots of White Supremacy, and Kelly Robinson, president of the Human Rights Campaign and the former executive director of the Planned Parenthood Action Fund. And Kelly, you're acting in both. I'm having you represent both organizations in some ways, but also just talk about this from an activist point of view and from a civil rights point of view, the threats to women. Abortion was not mentioned at the RNC convention, but it's mentioned here and it is in jeopardy.
Well, that was by design. Yeah, they wanted us to forget that they had taken credit for overturning Roe v. Wade. And the scary thing is, when you look at so much of Project 2025, they're using certain communities as scapegoats, but only to design ways to restrict all of us. You know, J.D. Vance was just talking about how he wanted to stop women from being able to travel across state lines to get care. Well, doesn't that sound a lot like the Fugitive Slave Act, right? Doesn't that sound a lot like what they intend to do for trans people trying to get health care? So what we have to understand is all of this is connected. It is a scary plan. It is a dangerous one. And when you look at some of their strategies, it's flat out creepy how they want to control our lives, who we love, and how we live.
Yeah, and men would be in jeopardy too, because if you're transporting a woman across state lines, you too would be in jeopardy. This is something, men have daughters, they have sisters, they have wives. So this is a plan to essentially Handmaid's Tale this country by force. And I want to talk to you a little bit, Rob, because you're such a great guy with the data, and you know this data inside and out. This is a very tiny percentage of the American people who are hyper right-wing Christians. I'm a Christian. I grew up in church, but this is not Christianity as most of us practice it. How small is this group of people that would be exercising power over the rest of us?
Well, the good news for our democracy is that 2/3 of the country rejects this vision.
Yeah.
It's about 3 in 10 Americans who who can be identified as Christian nationalists, either adherents or sympathizers to this worldview that you've described fairly well. But 2/3 of the country does not. But it's also 2/3 of white evangelicals that do embrace this. Right. It's a majority of Republicans who do embrace this. So it's wildly out of step with mainstream America, but it is at the heart of the MAGA movement that's fueled by white evangelical Protestants, and that you see, like, all the way into this document.
When you hear Donald Trump say, "Don't worry, Christians, just vote this one time, you'll never have to vote again," what did you hear?
You know, it's remarkable that Trump, this is even a remarkable thing to say, but the most extreme things that Trump says, he tends to say for white Christian audiences.
Yeah.
That statement about he could walk down Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody in the middle, that was at evangelical college that he made that statement. So I don't think this is hyperbole. I mean, I really do think, like this document, we are getting in real time a telegraphed statement about what they intend to do. And it's an authoritarian white Christian nationalist vision, where, as you said, it's white Christian men who are at the top of the power pyramid. The word order appears over and over. An ordered society, a well-ordered society, ordered liberty. All that is code for hierarchy, right? It's this old 19th century vision that has this ancient, and it's not all Christians, to be sure, but this older vision of a white Christian America really baked into the center of it.
What do you find the most alarming and the most frightening, the thing that you want people to know about top of mind?
How they are using the federal government to institutionalize bigotry structurally, right? The idea that he would come into office and fire nearly 1 million federal workers, career workers, right? That's scary. And then input foot soldiers that would just carry out his will. The idea that they want to turn the Health and Human Services Agency into the Department of Life and charge it with promoting heterosexuality as the quote unquote ideal family unit, and then attach federal benefits to those criteria. That's scary. And I think ultimately here, we're not just talking about policies that are impacting specific communities, though that's laid out quite clearly in Project 2025. But what we're talking about is the undermining of democracy. He's even saying out loud, if you vote in this election for him, for Donald Trump, that could be the last election you have to vote for. As Dr. Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them
the first time. People always leave out the first time.
Yes.
What alarms you the most?
There's actually 2 sentences out of all this 900 pages that I think were the most chilling to me to read. I'm just going to read them here.
Yes, please.
They said, an individual must be free to live as his creator ordained in order to flourish. Our Constitution grants each of us the liberty to do not what we want, but what we ought. Now, who gets to define that ought? The very next sentence gives us a clue. The pursuit of the good life is found primarily in family, marriage, children, Thanksgiving dinners, and the like. So that other 900 pages, that's in the foreword of this document. What the other 900 pages really are about that 1950s Norman Rockwell vision of a white Christian America, with white Christian men and their heterosexual marriages kind of reigning up here and everybody else knowing their place.
And for women, what are the most alarming things? Because obviously a national ban on abortion would be a part of it, but there's a lot more to it. I mean, the Comstock Act looms pretty large. You could use it in more ways than just to stop abortion.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to fundamentally reshape American life for women in this country. I mean, you can see all of that laid out in Project 2025. But I do have to say this. It clearly calls for a national ban on abortion. They intend to make that the reality. Also, I mean, the ways that they're defining heterosexuality and the ideal family unit, they are actually trying to put provisions into place to control us in our decisions. I mean, this trad wife, kind of housewife trend that they're trying to promote, that's actually a system of power and control over women's lives. So let's be clear, everything that we enjoy today is our normal way of being, right? From being able to go to work, to raise your kids in the way that you choose, to have a partner that you decide and pick, all of that they're saying they want the government to control it. So let's be clear. This is a dangerous, dangerous document that's laying out exactly what they plan to do.
Yeah. Robert P. Jones, Kelly Robinson, thank you both very much. Up next, how Project 2025 will entirely change the way our society is constructed, especially the extreme plans for immigration. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, so it gets worse. It's really, really scary. And so when we talk to people about getting out and voting, they're going to question you as to why you're voting for Kamala Harris, or why should I vote for Kamala Harris? And I'm telling you, y'all find some key points in this Project 2025 and you lay that out to them. If you're going to talk to people, I suggest talk to people, right? Because like I said, I talk to people every time I meet someone. I ask them, do they know about Project 2025? I bring it up and I talk about it. Because a lot of people still don't know about it, like I said.
one of Donald Trump's first orders as president, barring citizens and refugees from 7 mostly Muslim countries from entering the United States, was met with shock and acrimony nationwide, leading thousands of people to block airport entrances in protest. Today, 99 days out from the election, the right's views on immigration, as detailed in Project 2025, pushes the envelope even further. It includes calls for using the military for inland deportations, aka camps, effectively terminating the legal status of 500,000 Dreamers and consolidating several key federal agencies into a single standalone border and immigration agency at the cabinet level. The manifesto also details an assault on the workplace. It severely restricts the ability for labor to organize, stripping vital workers' rights, including allowing minors to work in dangerous conditions with fewer protections, and erasing DEI initiatives in favor of so-called merit-based hiring. Joining me now is Jaron Keith Gaynor, White House correspondent and the managing editor of politics at the Grio, and Cristobal Alex, civil rights lawyer, former senior advisor to the Biden-Harris 2020 campaign, and former founding president of the Latino Victory Fund. Thank you both for being here. Cristobal, I want to start with you. These immigration plans are radical. Describe what you think is the most egregious.
Well, where to begin? You have 925 pages there. And what's shocking to me, first off, campaigns are generally about the future. And what we're seeing in this booklet, this manifesto, is taking us back. It's reversing fundamental rights. It's attacking government the way you described it earlier. And when it comes to immigrant rights, it really should be called Project 1825, attacking Dreamers, 500,000 that you mentioned, that would lose their protections. One of the things that the Biden-Harris administration did was protect sensitive areas where immigrants are. So under Trump administration, you saw mass raids and deportation efforts. They stopped at schools, hospitals, inland. They want to bring all of that back. And what's also most egregious here, isn't necessarily what's in the document, but who's behind it. Stephen Miller, the architect of one of the cruelest anti-immigrant policies we've seen under Trump, really the ripping of babies from the arms of their mother. All of that comes back in this new manifesto.
Along with concentration camps.
Exactly, mass deportation camps.
Mass deportation camps. Let's talk about the other fixation of this plan, which is to end any sort of support for people of color, ending DEI, ending any race-based initiatives. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I checked, and equity is mentioned at least 90 times in Project 2025. And it says it wants to literally delete the word race, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Essentially, we've already been seeing this take place on the legal front. We saw the lawsuit for Black farmers be thrown out. We saw the MBDA, a federal agency that would close the racial equity for business owners. And so this document really prescribes what a future Trump Vance administration will look like. And it's very troubling because I've talked to many members of the CBC, for example, and they say this is a gift for us. This is a gift from MAGA because it's so pure evil, in the words of Congresswoman Federica Wilson.
And just to explain what MBDNA is, that's the Minority Business Development Agency. That means that Black and women-owned businesses and Latino-owned businesses and Asian American-owned businesses could no longer get federal money. They would redirect the entire federal government to assist white Americans only. Project 2025 contributors who are tied to white nationalist movements or its ideas. We counted, there was USA Today piece that counted at least 4 of them. Richard Hanania, Corey Stewart, Michael Anton, whose name has come up before in this vein, and a guy named Jason Richwine. So you have people who have connections to at least white supremacist ideas.
Yeah, it's troubling. We've seen this sort of already coming. We saw hints of this really when President Obama was in office.
Yes.
We saw the census data that showed that America was browning. There would be a majority Black and brown United States of America. And then what happened? We had the rise of Donald Trump, who not only called for the sitting president, to prove that he was a citizen, he called for mass deportations to build a border wall. And so this has been kind of a setup for many years up until this point, and it's really troubling.
And the other piece is workers' rights, allowing states to gut national overtime and minimum wage laws, meaning that limiting your time to have to work a day, repealing labor and wage protections for workers on federal projects, restricting unemployment insurance. So don't lose your job under a second Trump administration. They're going to restrict unemployment insurance, allowing minors to work in dangerous conditions with fewer protections. And we know a lot of the minors who are working in those conditions right now are undocumented kids.
Exactly right. This is really an attack in some ways on immigrants, on Latinos, Hispanics, people of color. And the way I think about it is really, it comes down to freedom, right? They're trying to take away our freedom, and we want to protect it. And really the antidote to this at the end of the day is really making sure that we elect Kamala Harris, because what Trump and Vance will do is take away our rights, make it so that the rich get richer, the children won't have the same protections as they do now, and workers won't either.
Yeah, let me read just a little bit of what Michael Anton has said. He's a former senior national security official in the Trump administration. He wrote in a pseudonymous essay published in 2016, quote, "The ceaseless importation of third world foreigners with no tradition of taste for or experience in liberty means that the electorate grows more left, more democratic, less Republican, and less traditionally American with every cycle, as does, of course, the U.S. population." This is essentially white replacement theory.
Exactly right.
It's written right in there for you.
Yeah.
And we saw a little preview at the RNC. And choosing Vance, many people feel like this is a doubling down on that white nationalist agenda. Someone who is actually connected to white nationalists and that right Christian ideology.
Yeah, go ahead, final word.
I saw a speech from Vance the other day attacking immigrants, calling for mass deportations. This is a man who hates Hispanic immigrants as much as he loves couches, and that's a scary thing.
And his wife happens to be of an immigrant background herself. Jaron, Keith Gaynor, and Cristobal Alex, thank you both very much. And coming up, how Project 2025 creates a society of winners and losers. We'll be right back.
Okay, so they're telling you in this document, and I think we went over there, mass deportation. So that means they're going to gather up people of dreamers. And I believe I've read somewhere where Donald Trump recently has said that they're going to take away, like if you were born in this country and your parents were immigrants, but illegal, and you were born here, they're going to take you, they're still going to force you to leave the country. So that's even on Trump's agenda, which is his agenda is also Project 2025, although they say that he doesn't know anything about it and blah, blah, blah. He knows everything about it because these are the same people that was in his administration in 2016. So the lies are going to keep coming. Just debunk them. Any chance that you get, if you're out here talking to people, look, just say, look, you need to read Project 2025. Let me give you some bullet points that I know about Project 2025.
2025, there are clear winners and losers. The winners are the billionaires who would reap the benefits of a complete restructuring of the U.S. tax code. And the losers are the rest of America, who would be the ones footing the bill. If you think Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts for the super rich were bad, well, Project 2025 aims to cut taxes for the wealthy and corporations even more, while low and middle class Americans would see their taxes go up. Just take a look at how economic analyst Steve Ratner broke it down on Morning Joe.
It would actually increase the amount that people making less than $150,000, less than that cutoff, pay $1,000, $2,000, $2,500. They would pay more taxes, but people above the wealthy would pay dramatically less taxes. If you earn $400,000 a year, you would get a tax cut of about $14,000.
If implemented, Project 2025 would also slash federal programs that help families and individuals who are struggling, with plans that include making it harder for the 40 million plus Americans who are on SNAP or food stamps to qualify for those benefits, eliminating free pre-K, reducing free school lunches for kids, making massive cuts to Medicaid, ending President Biden's student loan forgiveness program, not to mention weakening the Environmental Protection Agency and diverting focus completely away from the climate crisis. which would set future generations up for even greater climate disaster. Joining me now is Ali Velshi, MSNBC chief correspondent and host of Velshi, and Olivia Juliana, activist and digital strategist. Ladies first, I do want to start with you, Olivia, at the table. Your generation is right in the bullseye of this, because if you increase taxes on people who make $150K and less, you're basically talking about most of Gen Z.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just about increasing their taxes. That's happening at a time where a lot of young people who are living in these Republican-controlled states, they're already not seeing their wages being increased by their legislatures to match the number of inflation. So we're raising taxes without people having higher wages, without the affordability crisis of housing going down, and without the cost of education going down. So it's just kind of attack on attack for young people when it comes to affordability and being able to start their lives as productive adults coming into adulthood.
Yeah, and Ali, this has been an obsession of the right for a really long time, to make the people at the bottom foot more of the bill, and to essentially remove taxes from the super rich.
Yeah, and it's completely outlined in here, and it's done in a few ways. You mentioned it not just with respect to the actual tax code and taxing people, but you talked about climate. It's the same thing. They are eliminating anything that would feel like a penalty or a disincentive to go down this road of fossil fuels, or eliminating fossil fuels, and would reward fossil fuel. I mean, it speaks very clearly about the fact that we're going back to a fossil fuel-based economy. So this is a big windfall, not just to the wealthy, but to the industries that many of us would have hoped would be more regulated. This is basically a guidebook to deregulating things for businesses. It's across the whole document. It's a terrible read, Joy. I know you've got a copy of it. I carry my copy. It's terrible. It's really hard to make sense of. But when it littered through this thing is this idea that regulation is coming in the way of unfettered economic success for the wealthy in this country. So there should be no redistribution of that wealth. Right now, the average CEO makes 190 times what the average worker makes, 190 times. And basically this document says, that's not enough. Why don't we let everybody make as much money as they can make at the top of the pile, and everybody else has to follow the rules? It's very clear here, and I know most people are not going to read a 900-page document, but the point here is that you don't read it. You think it's okay to vote for these guys. You vote for them. They do this. And when you say, why is this happening? They'll say, we wrote it all down.
Yeah, and I mean, Olivia, this is one of the things that I think is important to point out, because you have a lot of young voters who unaffordability is their main voting issue. And it's one of the things that was turning them off from voting potentially to re-elect President Biden. Well, now what this document says is we're going to make it even more unaffordable between tariffs that tax everything you buy, gutting union protections, and even taking away things for people who do have kids, like free school lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then young people are acutely aware of that.
And should I mention, I'm sorry, I left off, of course, student loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's millions of people who got relief.
Millions of people, which have already seen those efforts try to be blocked by the Supreme Court. Like, we have good, tangible policy that's been put forward prioritizing young people, which has been a huge part of the Biden-Harris administration thus far, that is actively being rolled back and stripped back, outlined in this plan, on top of the attacks that they want to put forward. Affordability in general is education costs haven't gone down, and people are really struggling with that. But also part of this is getting rid of the Department of Education, getting rid of things like Pell Grants. You know, I went to public schools. I benefited from those programs that were passed by the government. And there are millions of young people just like me who have benefited and been able to become successful because of good policy. And it's not just rolling back, you know, recent things like the American Climate Corps, these investments from the Inflation Reduction Act that President Biden signed into law, but it's going back even further than that to things that were passed when my dad was a kid.
Yeah.
And I think young people are acutely aware of this. And I think that that's kind of starting to be reflected in some of the voter registration numbers that we're seeing, especially in swing states, because they know what's going on.
Ali Velshi, you did a special on this on your wonderful weekend show, and you've been through this document. What is the most frightening and alarming thing to you as an econ guy?
Look, as you mentioned at the top of the show, abortion's mentioned about 200 times in here. There's no national abortion ban in this thing. You could actually say there's no national abortion ban. It's that concept of let's send it back to the states. What this is all about the deregulating of America in a way that allows the most extreme positions to take hold. So put aside abortion, whatever you think about abortion, the abortion example is the clearest. It is going to deregulate climate. It's going to deregulate, as Juliana says, the Department of Education. So where we try and fix, it's going to deregulate the ability of the Department of Justice to have a consent decree when police shoot people who they're not supposed to shoot. The concept is there will be no rules. So as long as you can succeed in a country that has no rules, knock yourself out, vote for Republicans, and get Project 2025. If you are one of the tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans who actually need protections because society is fundamentally unequal here, you're out of luck with this document.
Yeah, it's government for the rich, and by the rich, and only for the rich. Ali Velshi, Olivia Giuliana, thank you both very much. And when we come back, how Project 2025 will attack the DOJ and the FBI to entirely change the way our government functions.
Okay, so thank you, Val. And I'll probably drop the link after this go off. I got I think it's like 10 more minutes left in this series. I just wanted to play this series because, like I said, you have professional people breaking it down. We know a lot of people aren't going to read 925 pages. And like I said, it's not an easy read. It's scary. It's extremely scary when you start to get into it, because this is already kind of just like, it's unbelievable that they came up with this document, knowing how it's going to affect people, and especially people of color. What Trump supporters do not realize is that they will be affected too, right? Especially the poor ones. They're going to be affected. They're going to take the money out of public school programs, and they're going to put it into Christian private schools where they have enough money to suit the needs that they want for them to have. They're going to put Bibles in, which they've already started doing that, just saying. Keisha, you say you're not shocked.
Self-governments to the American people. In plain English, the administrative state means civil servants, government employees in every state, people who deliver our mail, who keep our food and water safe, who work at airports and national parks and make sure your grandma gets her Social Security checks. Regular American workers. To Project 2025 and Donald Trump, civil servants are public enemy number one and the target of what's likely the most possible of all Project 2025 plans. The main goal? Reinstate a 2020 Trump executive order called Schedule F that makes it easier to fire workers not aligned with his agenda and use it to purge tens of thousands of career civil servants and replace them with Trump loyalists. Donald Trump has made very clear that that's his plan.
First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively.
One place he'll do exactly what he said is at the Department of Justice. Project 2025 plans to completely end the department's independence. Quote, while the supervision of litigation is a DOJ responsibility, the department falls under the direct supervision and control of the President of the United States as a component of the executive branch, adding that litigation decisions must be made consistent with the president's agenda. The same would apply to the FBI. Quote, the director of the FBI must remain politically accountable to the president. Joining me now is Joyce Vance, former U.S. attorney, professor at the University of Alabama School of Law, and MSNBC legal analyst, and Elie Mystal, justice correspondent for The Nation. Thank you both for being here. Joyce, explain in just regular real-world terms what it would mean to take over the DOJ and the FBI and what it would do to this country.
Sure. Yeah, so it would in essence mean that criminal justice, the power of prosecutors, would now be a tool that presidents could use. They could force investigation and prosecution of their enemies. They could terminate prosecutions or investigations into people who were their allies. In other words, instead of the Justice Department being the crown jewel of our system of democracy, it would be just another political tool to be wielded by a president.
There's also, when you go through some of these items, Elie, prosecute, quote, voter registration fraud and unlawful ballot correction, reorganize and refocus the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, eliminate, quote, lawless policies, investigations, and all existing consent decrees. You could go on and on and on, including enforce the death penalty more aggressively. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so when Trump says that vows to prosecute his political enemies, Project 2025 is how he's going to do it. And while Trump tries to sometimes disavow, like he pretends like he doesn't know anything about this project that was the forward written by his vice presidential candidate, the person who wrote the DOJ section is a man named Gene Hamilton. He is the right-hand man of unreconstructed ghoul Stephen Miller, who is most likely going to be Donald Trump's pick for AG. So this entire section here is how Stephen Miller will metastasize the Justice Department into, instead of fighting for freedom, instead into an organization that fights for Jim Crow. When you talk about his changes to the Civil Rights Division, what you are literally talking about is changing the Civil Rights Division into an organization that sues on behalf of aggrieved whites who claim that they are being racially targeted by policies like diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it's literally a way to criminalize, not just make it a culture war, to criminalize DEI practices in an attempt to make the world safe for mediocre white people like Stephen Miller.
Let's play. I want to play Donald Trump. He recently talked about police immunity because they're making an appeal to black voters based on Donald Trump being a felon. And then at the same time, he says things like this on the rally stage.
We're going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job. I think it's good.
Joyce, that sounds like a recipe for allowing much more violence, and we're already the most violent country in the world and have a pandemic of police executions of people, particularly including unarmed people.
We should be absolutely clear about what he's talking about. He's talking about ending federal prosecutors' ability to prosecute excessive force cases. You know, sometimes those cases do get prosecuted by our state counterparts, but in many ways, that's only because everyone knows that at the end of the day, DOJ is there with a big stick, and DOJ will prosecute if the state doesn't. Now we're talking about not only ending those prosecutions and that force that DOJ has in that space, but also more than likely ending civil practices like the pattern or practice cases that are used to reform some of the worst police abuses. In other words, it's open season. This is Donald Trump, who during his first term told police officers not to be too careful when they put people that they arrested into their vehicles. This is that sort of mentality on steroids.
Yeah, and with Sonia Massey barely in her grave, 36-year-old black woman who was executed by a police officer for invoking the name of Jesus near her stove. Let me read a little bit of Project 2025's plan to transform the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. The DOJ's Civil Rights Division and other federal entities have enshrined affirmative discrimination in all aspects of its operations under the guise of equity. Federal agencies and their components have established so-called diversity, equity, inclusion, DEI offices that have become the vehicles for unlawful discrimination. That's just to codify what Ellie has said. Talk to me a bit about how the Supreme Court Supreme Court majority, which you write a lot about, Ellie, would work with something like this.
Yeah, one of the real interesting things I find with Project 2025 is that there's no section on the Supreme Court, right? And the reason why there's no section on the Supreme Court is because they already have it. They've already captured it. And so Project 2025 is looking to make the DOJ work hand in hand with the Supreme Court, which has already gutted the Voting Rights Act, which has already gutted affirmative action, literally made it illegal. And again, if you go back to this section's creator, Stephen Miller, what has he been doing since the affirmative action decision? He's been going around threatening to sue schools who admit any black people, right? Because the idea is not just to get rid of affirmative action, it is to presumptively say that any black or brown student in a major university must have gotten there because of affirmative action, notwithstanding the fact that, people like me could test people like Stephen Miller into the ground. Notwithstanding that, everybody is apparently suspect, right? And so he has been literally threatening to sue schools who admit black people. And with Project 25, if you give Stephen Miller the DOJ, that's exactly what's going to happen, only it's going to come with the power and force of federal prosecution instead of his ghoulish little private law firm.
And last word to you on this, Joyce. Donald Trump has threatened to prosecute his political enemies, who he deems his political enemies, people like Liz Cheney, people like General Mark Milley. Could he do that without even having to have a grand jury under this plan?
You know, he can't. In our system, you've got to take these cases to a grand jury. But there's an old saying that a prosecutor could indict a ham sandwich. And getting past the grand jury, although on occasion grand jurors do stand up and refuse to indict, that's something that people who are intent on manipulating the evidence might be able to get away with. Those cases would then have to proceed in front of a federal judge, in front of a jury of the defendant's peers, and through the appellate system in the courts.
Yeah.
And Joy, I think our system is still strong enough to stand up to that.
I love the hopefulness. Joyce Vance and Ellie Mistal, thank you both very much. That is tonight's readout. You can scan that QR code in the corner to see more of our Project 2025 segments. Be sure to share them widely with your family and friends. Thank you for joining us. Inside with Jen Psaki starts now.
Okay. So look, Joy Reid, she broke it down. They're breaking it down and breaking it down, which I like. I thought it was quick. It's way quicker than how we do, because she has professionals that know certain parts of, you know, they probably studied certain areas of this document. When I tell you that it's scary, Keyshawn said she already knew. Like, she's not shocked by it. I'm kind of shocked by some of the things. I'm not shocked by the racism in it, but I know when I started looking at it, I started looking at it about 2 years ago, when I started talking about white Christian nationalism, and it was getting very, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene came out and basically said that she was a white Christian nationalist, and said, here, this is the new KKK. Here they come. And they're blatant in your face. And all of this is when they start telling you that Obama is the reason why, you know, racism and all this hatred has started again. It's not Obama. It's the people are scared that their numbers are dwindling down. And I'm talking about white America. White American people are in fear that, you know, Black people, if the tides turn, that what their ancestors did to our ancestors, now it's going to happen to them in this time. So what they're doing, hey Norris, what they're doing is they are actually, you know, planting all these seeds of, such as the DEI program. We got to get rid of that. You know, it's discrimination against white people. Because if you're reading blogs and comments and blogs like I do, because I do that all the time, every day, I confess to that. Or even if you get on Twitter, you're going to see that people are making these statements like white America is racism against white people. And they're using racism more than anyone else is using it. And they're scared. It is, it is like unbelievable for me, because I see them just straight losing their minds behind this. What I find to be very scary is how they are saying things like allowing the police to come out and just have no control. And we saw that with Sonya Massey, actually. And actually, me and Val talked about that today, and how Sonya Massey was just at home. She called the police looking for protection, you know, scared someone's outside her home. Police came inside her home. I was wondering, how did they even get in? Why did she let them in? And once they came into her home, because she, you know, allowed them to come in, then they wanted to see her ID. Like, she's at home. Why do you need to see her own ID? And I found that very interesting, you know. And then this guy just straight, you know, went left, and which in my mind, like other people have said, he went there probably in his mind to do something what he did. So when you have no rules, like Cherie said, yeah, they have no rules. Can you imagine? Think about Castile when he was in his car a couple of years ago, and the police officer said, "Let me see your ID." Or no, he went to pull out his registered gun license, pull it out and show him, shot him, cold blood, shot him in the car. And this dude just riding in a car with his girlfriend, and they shot him. Hey, Tawana, to inspire. Very scary, very scary. And some of y'all might not be scared by that, but if you get stopped by a cop, he can just unload on you just because, and he won't get questioned about it. Nothing will happen to him. Nothing. So when I hear stuff like that, I think about it's open season on people of color. Oh, I don't like it. Let me pull this black person over, pull you over, and just treat you any kind of way, beat you, do whatever, and they're not held accountable for it. So it is like the white knights in their hoods riding on their horses to burn crosses in your yard. This is what this reminds me of. Okay. And this is what Donald Trump is trying to do. And he'll sit there and lie in your face, and all these people, rappers that's coming out, black rappers that's coming out to endorse this man, because they don't even know what they're endorsing. I don't know if they're getting paid or whatever they're doing. And they're talking about, all they're worried about is their little tax dollars. And if you have to worry about paying higher taxes, then you're not rich. Okay. Since you're paying millions of dollars in taxes, so some of them say you're not rich. So you're living paycheck to paycheck at this point. You may be quoted on the internet that you're worth these millions of dollars, when in reality, if you have to worry about your tax dollars getting higher and paying more taxes, you don't have the money. And that's just that's point blank, period. Okay. I don't care what anyone says. You can flash your little diamonds and your gold teeth and your diamond teeth and all of that bull crap, and drive in your fancy cars and do all of that and carry your fancy bags and do all that drama. You really ain't got no money if you're worried about your tax dollar getting higher. Give back to the people, right? So that's it. Because poor people, there shouldn't be any poor people in this country, period. There should not be a veteran on side the street begging for food or money. No veterans should have to beg for anything. Not one. People come here to this country. They died trying to get into this country because this is the American dream. You can become, someone. You can become successful. This is what this country is about. Okay. So, these little rappers, and tonight Kamala was here tonight. And she made her speech. She had Quavo come out on stage. I believe she had Megan Thee Stallion come on stage. I was trying to get tickets to go, but it was all gone. And and so I believe Saturday Trump is coming here. So I'm just saying, all of a sudden Trump trying to make it down to Atlanta because he got to talk to the black folks, right? He's trying to get the vote of the black people. He didn't think about black people in 2016 and in 2020 because he thought he had it in the bag. So now he's going to focus more on black people. So he will be bringing out more rappers, I guess. I don't give a crap about a rapper. I don't. Because I know that they are not sincere. If you're standing up there next to Donald Trump, you're not sincere to me in my eyes, and you ain't doing no good for our community. First of all, you ain't doing no good with little tired rap songs talking about gang banging and all of that kind of stuff. We're not benefiting from that. Those songs, we're not. We need some conscious rap around here. We need to get back to the 80s. We need to get back to some conscious rap. We need some KRS-One. We need some conscious rap. I can't think of no rappers right now. Keyshawn said, I think it's not the fact that we're not scared, and me, Sonny. It's just that it has become the norm that the possibility of police pulling us over and assaulting us and unaliving us. Yes. We don't want that to become the norm at all. Let's see. She also said that's exactly what I said in the video men of the white establishment and becoming unhinged with the possibility of a woman POTUS of African descent. Exactly. I do want to say this, that I do go on Twitter a lot. I don't know why. Public Enemy, that's what I was trying to think of. Evangelist Val. I was literally trying to think of Public Enemy. That's so funny. I do go on Twitter a lot, and just be aware if you go on Twitter or if you see a lot of Black faces making comments about Kamala Harris, some of those little things are not real. Those are not real people. I think those are bots or whatever. I don't think those are real people. They're just trying to change your mind. And so you're going to have a lot of people, because I've had a lot of people, you know, when I'm messaging in blogs or whatever, basically say, why would you vote for this woman? And, you know, she doesn't like Black people. So, or she's not Black. Well, she is Black. Okay. Her dad is from Jamaica and he's from Afro descent. I looked it up last night because someone Black, I doubt it, made a statement about her not being Black or from African descent. She's all Indian. Her father was Indian, which is not true. Google is your friend. It is your friend. So I know a lot of people are debunking a lot of things about Kamala Harris and her record as district attorney in California. Is it district attorney? I think it is. Well, she was attorney in California. Let me say this. A lot of that stuff is being debunked about the thousands of Black people that she put in jail. Lies. Not true. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more research on it, and I will be talking about the positive things that Kamala Harris has done for while she's been VP, and we're going to debunk some of those lies that are coming out as well. She was both DA and general. Okay, thank you, Keisha. So we're going to go over a lot of stuff. I'll probably come on again this week. So I'm going to be doing Sundays and possibly Thursdays. So I'll try to get on here 2 or 3 times a week up until the election, because it's going to be real important. I don't know if any of you all know who James Cavill is. He is a Democratic strategist. He worked with the Obama administration. He worked big with the Clinton administration. And he was the one who got Bill Clinton elected. He said, right now we are in the honeymoon stage of Kamala Harris. The honeymoon stage. They are going to come at her. The Republican Party are going to come at her with full force. Okay. And so anyone who has a channel, I know Tawana to the Spire does. Keisha, do you have a channel? Look, yeah, bald-headed dude, exactly. We have to start spreading this message, because at this point, we as people of color, our lives depend on this woman getting elected. Okay? If we're going to be banded together, we have to be banded, bond, glued, whatever, together. And we must get out here and vote. Right now, like he said, we are in the honeymoon stage. We are all excited. The numbers are showing that she is, popularity-wise, they love her, right? Her numbers are exceeding Donald Trump's numbers as popularity-wise. We need people to get out and vote. People need to be registered to vote. I don't care who you talk to. You got to talk to your neighbor, whatever. Talk to your neighbor. This was somebody was canvassing here in our neighborhood, and they were passing these out. Okay, I don't know if y'all got these, but they were passing these out. So I was just so happy. I was like, oh, good, they're canvassing. I wish I can get out and canvass, but I can't canvass. I just don't have the time. But what I am volunteering, I'm doing more on the internet side, pushing out, memes and stuff like this. Vote for Kamala. Make sure you register to vote and do all this, all this kind of stuff. So I am volunteering. Hey, Mel, let me drop the link real quick if anyone wants to come up and say anything really quick. There's a lot of ways you can volunteer, even if you don't know how to do the phone banking and stuff like that, or even do what I'm doing. I'm just sending out messages. I'm texting people, messages about Kamala Harris, voting for Kamala Harris. It's part of the campaign and the people that set up this volunteer stuff. They send you the stuff to send out. So yeah. So like I said, guys, if you are interested in doing any type of volunteer work, always, I'm on IG. Hit me up. Please hit me up, because I definitely will lead you in the direction of volunteering. Hey, Mel.
Hi.
You were watching?
Huh?
I didn't know you were watching.
I know. I was, excuse me. How you doing? I was doing other things I had you in the background, but I wanted to call in before you logged off.
Okay.
What I wanted to say is, you're right about that. Listen, I was even thinking to myself, like, somebody need to come out with a T-shirt that says at least all her lovers were above age and it was consensual. We need to have those T-shirts out there where, because they got there talking about her past. Well, at least all her lovers were legal and they were above 21 years old, and it was no issues of any crimes going on with her lovers.
Right.
So we if we want to compare lovers, we can do that also. And also, I think that it's so funny to me that this man survived a deranged shooter who had a bad aim, and yet he out here afraid of this woman who's going to eat him, because I think that her truth will wound him more deeper than that mistaken piece of glass did. I think that's what he afraid of. He wasn't afraid of that make-believe unfortunate bullet, but he definitely was afraid and is afraid of this woman getting getting up in there. So, this is what's going on. And I think that for me too, well, he came out today, whatever, he was like, well, don't worry in 4 years, because this is going to be it for the rest of it. Now, people were saying on those conservative channels that they believe in Amendment 22, but now he up there saying today he don't believe in it. He want to be up in there like Russia, So, hey, I've been wanting to talk to you, Miss Mel. I'm getting tired. I'm eating cheese nips, and I'm just
Mel MC.
Mel MC. I'm around the world, right? This is crazy. I love you, Miss Mel. Love you, Miss Mel. Yeah, but I think that what I was going to say. I think that he's afraid. He's definitely afraid, and I think that I liked her speech tonight too, or the thing. It was night and day compared to Biden, because she said, "Listen, I know the saying where it says, if you got something to say, you got to say it straight to my face." I said, come on, lady. Come on, Miss Harris. I need that energy up there. He need a good, excuse my French, he need to go to ass whooping. Mm-hmm. That's what he needed that. That's what he needed, because maybe that was the reason why he's a lunatic right now. He needs to know exactly what time it is.
Well, he said that, I read an article, because I guess he did an interview with someone. I couldn't find the interview. I didn't look that hard, because I don't like listening to this man. This man just irritates me all the way. But he made a statement that someone said, the interviewer said, since you were had an attempt on your life, what did it change you? He said, I believe it made me worse. So like, I'm not going to be nice. It made me worse, more angry. And I'm just like, this dude, it never ends with this man. Nobody wants to hear all the negativity. We are tired of the negativity that is happening. We want to see some
solutions.
We don't want, who is this Bring the Mess TV? Oh, that's hey, Tawana. Hey, Tawana.
I'm going to use this channel this week to talk on it.
Okay.
I won't be using the Tawana channel. But some of the things that I think people should know, some things that I think that's going to help get us out to vote is, can you hear me clearly? some of the things that's going to help get us out to vote. I hope I didn't cut nobody off. I just came on. But some of the things that's going to help get our people out to vote is that they should know that they plan on cutting off Section 8. They plan on cutting food stamps. And they also want to make it where a bunch of doctors have gotten together. They've been actually trying to bend. They have been trying to bend. They have been trying to stop where you could buy pop. They want to stop you from getting snacks, pop, and all type of processed food, which I am okay with. But y'all should know that they want to stop you from getting that on food stamps. You're only going to be able to buy like meat and vegetables. So there's just like some points that I don't think that people think that it's not going to affect them, but it's going to affect them. And I work with a lot of people who have Section 8. And sometimes they will be like, oh, I can't work these amount of hours because I can't work too many hours because I got Section 8. Well, you're not going to have that anymore. They're going to give you a certain amount of time to get yourself together and then you off. So passing it down to your kids and passing it down to them kids and them kids is not going to work.
You're exactly right. I'm getting feedback from your. So when you logged in.
Probably because my phone is going to die. I'm going to drop down. I just wanted to say that.
I'm glad that you came up and said that. And it's very important. They said that. They talked about that. Reid did. Just talking about how they're going to get rid of food stamps and Section 8. And it's going to affect a lot of more white Americans. Did she drop down? Dang. It's going to affect poor white Americans more so because they are the ones that are on Section 8 and food stamps, right? But they don't know that. And a lot of those people are Trump supporters. So sad to say, that's what's going to happen. And Black people will be affected by it who are on Section 8 and on food stamps as well. And it's going to affect a lot of elderly people, right? So I don't know what else to say because when I see or even hear of Black people or people of color are going to go out here and vote for this man, they clearly don't know what they're voting for. They don't. They never read. They haven't even. Project 2025 has not even crossed their minds, you know. So yeah, Tawana is exactly right. She said, I work with those people, and I'm telling you, these people, you know, you're not gonna be able to pass that down to your children. That Section 8 stuff, you're not gonna be able to pass that stuff down. You will be coming off of Section 8, and you won't have food stamps, and you probably won't have food to eat. So when this man goes out here and claims that he's going to raise the tariffs on China and all of that, who's going to pay those taxes? American people are going to pay those taxes. So it's a lot of deep diving and a lot of research into what's happening.
And these everybody out here, well, I was going to say, all these people out here were chasing that stimulus check that wasn't even his to give to the people in the first place. We wouldn't have that pandemic problem if he would have done the right work at the time. Again, many hundreds of thousands of people died,
right,
because of his lack of sanity. He didn't know what to do, so people end up getting all the confusion. He wanted, I'm the mean joke a little bit. He wanted people to drink a cold glass of bleach, to get away with all the, the issues. So, I think now, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, and I was joking, of course. I was like, I never thought in my lifetime I would be thinking that people should take sanity tests before they go to a voting booth, that they should be learning more about the government and the process and educate themselves and take a test. Like, how sometimes you have to take a driver's test? I think maybe we get into a state in this country, we need to take a test to learn before we vote. Because if you're that foolish and you're that ill-informed, then you should keep your ass, Lord, you should keep yourself out of the voting booth, because all you're doing in there is causing mess and chaos. You going in there ignorant, blind, up there getting into the TikTok and the stuff and all the entertainment, but you don't know that you cut your nose off despite your face. You're really just doing yourself a disservice. And then you be the same person on YouTube somewhere hollering and screaming about your local community, what's going on, and how people run up in your house and how you don't got no protection in this. Well, we tried to tell you. Now, mind you, for me, I'm not going under the covers shaking and I mean, we talk about this a lot of time. I'm not worried about nothing really. I think for me, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But in the meantime, very happy that Ms. Harris out here, being sassy, being energized, not being old. I think that's a plus with this race. Everybody was an octogenarian. They weren't senior citizen. They were up there about to get on the rockers. So I think that for me, the fact that she's lively, I was happy. And I like the fact that she raised a lot of money. But yeah, I think I don't know. I feel optimistic because I wasn't feeling that way after that issue happened with that man and with
Joe Biden. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was like optimistic. I mean, I was trying to be optimistic about it, and I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. I think people are going to come out and vote because, and this is the whole reason of pushing Project 2025 more so when Biden was running, because we have to push this narrative so these people can understand their agenda.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you talk about tonight that that's what I was going to say before I dropped down. Did you talk about tonight? Now, so this is the part that I found exciting because I would have never thought in a million years this would have happened. That Republicans this week have been coming out in support of Kamala Harris. That you've seen that they said that they are so against Donald Trump that they won't change their party, but they are now almost promoting Kamala Harris.
Yes.
So,
I was going to mention that actually, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Well, that's big. That is huge.
That's huge.
Very huge. I mean, if that don't give the Trumpsters some kind of wake up call, oh my gosh, these people are Republican, in the government saying that they refuse to endorse, that one of them actually endorsed Kamala Harris in a Republican city, in a swing state. How about that?
In one of the major city, his name, I wrote his name down.
Yeah.
And John Lyles, in Arizona.
So I think that with the Republicans, some of the Republicans on her side, with all this donations flooding in, I believe people were sitting on the couch. They're like, I'm just tired. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, it's just this is not the best options in either direction. But you saw that as soon as she dropped that information, I was donating like a crazy person that night, and so many people did. So then you got, I think at one point she said 200 million so fast. She's going to exceed that. So people needed a good candidate, basically. And it's just amazing that Republicans in this climate are coming out saying that they're going to jump ship. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So no, he definitely has something to be worried about.
Well, this is the time. This is the time to get Trump and the MAGA party out. Okay, because we're going to have Republicans that are going to run when Kamala wins this election. You're going to have, I do believe you'll have an extremist to come out and run against her the next 4 years, right? I do believe she will serve 8 years. And as a matter of fact, I had said, and this is my prediction, she will serve 8 and another Democrat will come in and it will serve 8. It'll be a minute before they will get another Republican in there. I truly believe that. So, look, like you said, Mel, the Republicans are behind Kamala because it's okay. I try to speak everything into existence. It's okay to have a different party. It's okay to have, differences. We don't all have to believe in the same thing, but most of us are middle of the road anyway, right? So some of us may lean a little bit to the right and we may lean a little bit more to the left, but most of us are middle of the road. We can't have anyone like a Donald Trump in office saying he wants to be a dictator. The only reason why he wants to do that, and believe me, when he says it, he will do it. Just like Joy Reid said, like Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't give them second chances. When they show you the first time, that's what you believe because that's who they are.
Right.
This man wants to be a dictator. He doesn't want to go to prison. This is his whole thing. You know, he's telling these Christian people at the, you know, oh, you all are Christians. You got to get out and vote. Get out and vote. I'm not a Christian. If you watch the video, he clearly says, I'm not a Christian. So that is everything, right? He slipped up because he was nervous and he was losing his mind. He's losing it.
Absolutely.
You know, he wants to say he's not part of Project 2025, when in fact, we all know that he is, because he is citing the same thing, which is what is in Project 2025.
If you look in his phone now, the 130 whatever people that Ms. Joy Reid said is on that Project 25 board, or people that was in his administration, he's talking to those people on a daily basis. I mean, the man don't know. He don't know his it's many words I would say. He don't know his butt from his elbow, basically. He don't know what time of day, what day it is, what month. He don't know that stuff. He's getting these sort of cheat sheets from these lunatics. He's basically the spokesperson, so that way he can now make decisions about money. It's not really about the government. Actually, I don't think he liked the government. He don't like the government. He don't like the process at all. He wants to be the CEO of a company. He don't see the country as what it is, which is a country of the United States. It's not something that you can run like you know on TV or something. So that's, you know, he don't really care about the you know, about all that stuff. And I think that what Nicola was saying too, the bigger picture for me is, you know, when they criminalize homeless people out in California, you know, these people out there, they take them up the street, put them in the prison, and the prisons are over flooding with all this kind of stuff, with people who are not even committing crimes. The message I get from Trump and people like them is that they criminalize the poor. And I remember this saying when I was growing up, they said, what is it? Wait a minute, oh my gosh. Basically, but for the grace of God, again, I don't know Bible word for it, but it's one of the things I grew up with. But for the grace of God, whatever thing you make fun of, you might be that thing tomorrow. You just don't know. You never know when your bad day is going to come. So if everybody who has a bad day now have to go be sitting under the prison, that makes no sense in this country. Sometimes people have bad years and have good years, but that doesn't mean that you should be criminalized because you happen to be in a low income bracket.
Right.
You still have the potential to participate in this country. So that part is crazy to me. So a lot of those programs that she was listing, at the bigger picture is they see people who are under $100,000 as criminals, which is insane to me. Because we have so many students, so many people, and for me also, where does the brother who had because I actually know somebody who has an eye condition, very smart man, but he lost his sight. He lost his sight when he was in his late 20s, but he had it when he was younger. He aced in school and stuff like that. Now he has a home attendant, you know, that comes in to help with stuff. And he had money from his family, so he don't have the government, none of that part. But he has somebody come in and insurance stuff helping, and he has all this stuff. So under Trump, my friend, he would be ass out. He'd be out there on the street somewhere, blind, confused, without any resources. And that even goes to the woman's health issue. There's some people who are born with these sort of genetic issues that is hereditary in a family that turns into like these tumors and these deformities and all type of stuff that needs to be, unfortunately, through the grace of God, that needs to be kind of exercised out of your body. Because if the baby becomes full term, then that baby won't have quality of life and probably will pass away within a couple of weeks or months. The woman will have complications too. So these are all things that they don't, it's just like, what is going on? We're human beings. We're not corporations.
Well, I want to piggyback on what you just said, because I was watching clips of The View today, and his nephew was on there, and he's promoting the book, talking about his uncle. And he said that when his uncle became president, he wanted to start up a foundation for people who deal with, mental
disabilities and stuff.
Disabilities, yeah. And did you see it?
No.
Okay, so he talked about that because he has a son that has a disability, and he said that Trump literally told him that because he was coming to get the funding for the foundation. He said the funding has ran out, whatever. And Trump told him, why do it? That your son doesn't even know who you are. He doesn't even recognize who you are. Why don't you just let him die and move down to Florida? And when the nephew was talking about it, he's just like, he said it just, made him sad because he didn't really want to talk about it, keep repeating us, what he said to him, but it just made him feel some kind of way that he said it. And by the way, he's supporting Kamala Harris because he support her issues, and that's why he will be out there campaigning for Kamala Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Donald Trump is an evil man. He's not a nice person, like they were saying on The View. You never see him laughing, so that's why he talks about Kamala Harris laughing and everything. But you see him smile, but you never see him laugh, and that's something in itself, right? So he attacks this woman laughing, or what else did he say about him? He just said all these things. He did use the N-word twice. He said, when I was a young kid, someone stole my bike. They grew up in Jamaica. What is it? Jamaica, Queens?
Queens. Mm-hmm.
I guess on the nicer side of the area or whatever. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But he was saying that someone had stole his bike, and it happened to be a young black guy had stolen his bike, and he was 10 years old. And so they caught the guy, and Trump was like, these ends are calling the N-word or whatever. He needs to be put in jail. And it was real bad. And I was like, but I'm not surprised by that. So when people sit back and say, so what? So what? He said the N-word. So what? He's a racist. He's the worst kind. He's the kind that will shake your hand, smile in your face, right? And then stab you in your back.
Right.
He's trying to take away your civil right. And he doesn't care because he doesn't care about anybody.
So you're right about that. So I was going to say, I was watching this guy who's here. His name is, I forget his name, LV or something. He's like this Dominican man, whatever, which is a whole other thing. And he's up there talking about, Kamala Harris is out here. It's cringeworthy because she's in the community. She's using these rappers. I said, wait a minute. So she can't connect with her authentic community, with the community she comes from. Partly, this is her community. But Trump can go out there with these people, use them, the sexy reds and all this other type of people, and we're supposed to buy that. Also, every black person or person of color that he used on the campaign up until he got that man, whatever the man name, GD, whatever it is, he was sort of telling people, right? He was telling other people, like in the mayors and people jumped behind him, being a buffoon, almost being like Uncle Tom behind him on the campaign. He was like, oh yeah, you're gonna be a part of my thing. Every person he had promised something of color to on a campaign, he has shown up totally without that kind of, nobody of color really is in the forefront of his campaign.
Right.
So that's why I was telling you privately. I said that if you're a person of color, whether you're immigrant, black, Latino, whatever it is, and you have to dress up in that garbage to be accepted at those rallies, what are you doing?
Right. But even his nephew said, is it raining outside? Even his nephew said, the one thing that Trump will do is he'll use you, and when he has no more use for you, he'll just throw you aside.
That's what he's doing. Yeah.
That's exactly what he'll do. So I don't understand it. I can't take any more black folk sitting here walking around with their red hats on, and it just boggles my mind. You cannot be this so caught up into this man that you need to fit in to the Republican Party. It's not the Republican Party that is racist. It is the MAGA Republicans that are racist.
Right.
Right. The Republican Party, the old school Republican parties that, before now, let me correct something. That doggone Heritage Foundation is racist. Okay. But the Republican Party, people like what's her name? I bought her book.
Liz Cheney or something?
Liz Cheney. I don't think she's racist. I think she's just a hardcore conservative. I don't think she's racist. I think her values are what she stands by. Right. Or the other guy that was on the committee that I said he should run. I can't think of his name right now. The young guy, the Republican guy that was in the military. I talk about him all the time. Kissinger. I don't think he's racist. He supports Kamala Harris. You have, they just want their party back.
Mm-hmm.
They just want their party back. And I think that when Donald Trump loses this time, his nephew said he will run again. That's 4 years. He'll be 80 years old or 80, by 82. He won't get elected because once you get a young person in there, these young people will get out here. They're going to put her in office. And from there on, you even have Joe Biden saying that the term limits in the Supreme Court. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't be sitting up there for the rest of your life making judgments on old school values. And why is Mitch McConnell still out here talking? That's what I want to know. Because he talked about Joe Biden wanting to have term limits in the Supreme Court. And he came out and he said, I could barely understand him. He was so old. I couldn't understand what he was saying. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why is he talking? Why is he up here talking? Y'all get rid of him. He's too old to stand here and say anything. I don't want to hear these old white men with these old school 1945, 55 systems that they have put in place. You know, I'm irritated by it all. You know, I'm here because we need to get this woman elected, y'all. And I'm burnt out on it because I tell you all the time how it is like wearing me down. Because part of me is a part of me, to be honest with you guys, it is part of me, I'm kind of scared. But I'm trying to stay positive too, because the other part of me is like, I believe that this woman is going to win. So I'm trying to stay positive for you all. I'm trying to stay positive for my family members and my sisters and my female friends, you know, and I'm like, y'all got to get out there and vote. Voting is the key. Voting is the key. And we have to get these young people to vote.
But you know what I would say too? I agree with you. You know what I would say too, basically in closing, so we all can get off and go to bed and all that stuff. But you know, I was going to say too, the blessing is that we have talked so much about voting this year in the community. Now, even though some of the conversations that are happening, I don't agree with. I definitely don't agree with anybody out there confused or supporting Trump. I don't understand it. I don't hate you. I truly, I don't understand it. But the good news is we are talking about community boards. We're talking about volunteering. We're talking about Project 25. We're talking about our local situations, things that I got excited about in the last election. Because before I just voted when the papers came in the mail. You know, I wasn't going that deep. But I think when the pandemic happened, I saw things happening here, of course, with George Floyd. And so those things really triggered me to participate more. This is before this threat happened with Trump happening now. I just was like, oh, I want to participate more. I want to know what's going on. So the good news too is that you don't have to stop participating. You could be a pain in the backside, no matter who's in office. Right. I was watching. I found Tavis Smiley, which I love. I'm so happy I found the show again. And what he was saying with this woman who up there, and I forget, I have to probably send you the show. He was saying that basically voting is basically the last process on a long sentence. It's like it's the last stage. Because before that, you've done so much work before that. And that work you do before voting is really good work, you know, when you can communicate with people and do stuff like that. So this season, you know, like you said, I believe I'm excited again because, you know, it feels refreshing what she's doing. But no matter what happens, I'm going to continue to participate in these processes. You know, I think that, you know what I think too? I think maybe the biggest victory, no matter what happens, is that maybe people won't be totally like, disappointed no matter what happens, and they go, you know, forget this, I'm not going to never vote again. I think that maybe now people are going to be so passionate, like, you know what, after November, I still want to do, because a lot of people when November comes, that's it. They don't want to worry about it for another 6, 7, 8 months. They forget all about it. Maybe we should commit to ourselves, no matter what happens in November, we're going to be there participating in December. We're going to be participating in January, February, and going on to those like governor and senator and those seats and all. We're going to continue to stay on their necks, basically.
Yes, we are. We're going to stay on their necks. We're going to stay whatever we need to do to get these people out here to vote. We got to get the younger people energized. They are energized, though. I think a lot of them are energized. Get them out here to vote. Vote blue all the way down the line. I really, truly, in my heart of souls, believe that Give me a moment. Sorry. That Kamala is going to make a change, and I think it's going to make a change for the better for this country and for women. I think they will.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I was watching a movie last night, and it was a really good movie about a woman who was a porn star back in the 70s. And she went through a whole lot of stuff. This was a true story. She did the movie about I think Deep Throat. I can't remember her name.
Was her name Lovelace or something like that?
Linda Lovelace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you that movie is so good and it's so sad at the same time. She wrote a book called, I think it was called The Ordeal, right, Mel? I think that's the name of it. But that was her life story. She told the story in the 70s. She gotten pregnant at 21, or probably when she was young, but her parents moved her from Yonkers, New York down to Florida. She ends up meeting the guy, and she was 21 at the time. And basically he put her through he got her into the lifestyle, and she became this star. Later you find out that she only was in it for 17 days, but her movie made millions of dollars. She only got paid, I believe it was like $2,600 or $2,650 or something like that, because the guy had taken all the money, used up all the money. Well, he abused her. He trafficked her, right? And during that time, she was being abused, like brutally beat. And she couldn't use her voice as a woman in the 70s. You have to remember back then, women couldn't have bank accounts. I say all of this to say, our generation and where we are as women now, if you are not voting for a woman, a female that is going to stand her ground and make sure we are able to get out here and just vote, have a job, be able to take care of our bodies, because no man understands what a woman is going through. They don't know. They don't know what it's like to be pregnant. They don't know what it's like to bleed every month. They don't know. They don't know what it's like to have menopause and be emotional when you're having menopause, going through high flash. They don't understand that. To force a woman to carry a dead baby in her stomach for 9 months because you don't think that she needs to get an abortion, you're putting her life in jeopardy, and you think it's okay to do so. How dare you do this to women? Your mother, your sisters, your children, your daughters. How dare they? And this is why I'm so passionate about this. And this is why I'm scared at one point, because I hear people, well, I don't think she's going to be able to, I don't think they're going to vote a woman in office. When I tell you, you got to get out there, you got to talk to people, you got to talk to your daughters. Your daughters need to talk to their friends. If they are of age to get out here and vote, even I don't care if they're 12, 13, 14, 15, because guess who start off with these young kids when they're in elementary schools and junior high schools? The Republican Party does. They go, the Heritage Foundation, as a matter of fact, they go out there to these elementary schools and these junior high schools, and they start putting these agendas in these kids' minds. They do that. I'm telling y'all need to talk to these people. Y'all need to talk and make sure to get out here and vote for this woman. You might not like everything that you may not like her. You may not like her. Amanda Seals, right? You may not like her, but let me tell you something. Our livelihood is on the line. Our livelihood is on the line. Can you imagine not being able to have a bank account? You got to go to your husband so he can, oh, can I get a bank account, husband? What? Why are we going back?
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to go back. And when I tell you that Linda Lovelace, I was just like, it's unbelievable. I felt so bad for that woman. You know, it's horrific. Horrific. I'm telling you guys. And it made me sad to think that women had to go through that in the 70s. She tried to escape her abusive husband. Her mother told her to go back to him and be a good girl and treat your husband right so he doesn't beat you.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That's also. I agree with you. I agree with you. And don't get too upset, because you know what, you're doing good work, and thank God for you. Thank God that you're out here talking and you're back on YouTube and you're doing this. I don't know. I just feel it's all going to work out no matter what happens. I really do. And I think that movie, I'm going to look it up because that's given me one of my goddesses, my idols. So I miss Tina Turner, of course. She left her marriage when that one, she was broken in two. Everything was disjointed. That's kind of why I lost a little respect for Mr. Judge Joe Brown, because it was just horrific the way he talks about her. That woman is an icon. And she left that marriage with only her name. That was it. She couldn't get her hands on nothing else, you know. So, we don't want to go back there. My mother and my grandmother also have stories coming from down south. It was horrific. It was totally horrific.
We're not going back.
No way.
We're not going to go back. And that is the slogan that she's using, Kamala Harris. We're not going back.
Come on.
Okay, we're not doing it. So, guys, y'all know that I love you. Look, I get a lot of people that send me little stank messages and say stank things on my comment sections and stuff like that. I ignore that mess because we're not going to be swayed. You can't make me think different. I'm not going to go over here and put Orange Man in office. I'm not voting for Orange Man. If you come over here telling me that that's the right choice, even if you're standing in my face, I'm going to argue you down. I'm going to base you down about what this woman right here. This is the future of America. This is the future of America. Because they did say that no black man would ever be president. Didn't they say that?
Mm-hmm.
Got to start somewhere. What happened? We got Obama. Amanda Seals, she can kick rocks. If she want to go over there and fight in Palestine, because all she does is talk. She don't do nothing but talk and run her mouth. She's an intelligent woman. And you know what my husband said last night? He said, Amanda Seals is Kamala. That's who she is. That's her, you know, for her to sit up there and spew all this nonsense that she's spewing. I think she came unhinged. Something is going on with this woman. She's an intelligent young lady. But for her to worry about what's happening overseas as if it hadn't been happening for years.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't she tell Michael Shannon, or whatever that man is, on the Shannon show, that she was autistic, that she had these mental...
I don't believe that. At first, I believed that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that anymore. Yeah. I think that this woman is on IG or her IG platform, because that's where I see it. She actually blocked my husband, but because he said something, he said he wasn't even rude to her. He just said something nice to her and questioned something that she was saying, and she blocked him because she goes around blocking people. That's she doesn't like anyone to question her.
So
right?
Wait a minute. So she's asking questions, and this is what I don't understand. So when you're at that level, and you have that kind of what is the word, exposure, whatever it is, and you mean to tell me that you can have a respectful conversation with the people who took their time out to watch your content? That's not very intelligent.
No, she doesn't want you to question. She wants to put out what she wants to put out.
She's like Trump. Then she's another version. I feel like that Trump represents a personality that wants everybody to agree with what they say, that wants people to believe that they're right about everything. And I think that's very dangerous. Is the things I learned, which is I'm not right all the time. I don't know anybody who is sane who says they're right from the moment they wake up in the morning to the time they go to bed. We make a lot of mistakes in every day. So if you're not enough, conscious enough
I guess Mel fell off. But yeah, so don't listen to Amanda Seales.
No.
Oh yeah, she's having a moment. Okay, I'm not gonna disrespect her, but she's having a moment, and I think she needs to put down the IG, right? Shut it down for a minute, because some of the stuff that she says, to me, in my opinion, is far-fetched. And I don't have to agree with everything she says, but this woman doesn't seem to want to sit down and have a dialogue. You know what I'm saying? She wants you to believe that whatever she's putting out is correct.
I remember. I was going to say. I remember I told you this. Not to cut you off. I was going to say. I remember I told you this, and I feel that this is what I feel. I feel everybody can have their point of view, but I personally feel, and I know it's controversial to say this. It's just my opinion. I personally feel that Trump is a national terrorist running for office. And that is the way I see him. I see him as that man in Oklahoma years ago that tried to blow up, and we had the person try to blow up the tower. I feel he is a national terrorist running for office, in my opinion. So at this state, we are in a state of emergency. Now, I personally don't feel like anything, everybody has concerns, but I feel like everybody on either side should put those concerns into a box, lock it up, and put it and leave it there until December. Right now, we have to vote for sanity. We can't get around here and talk about a million different things that we have not solved in the 4 years since Biden was in office. This is what I want to say to Miss Amanda. We had all this time before this election to come up with all these concerns about the community, about this. And why would y'all wait now, a couple of weeks before the major election, to say we have to solve these problems? That's BS to me. I'm not. You know what, Miss Sunny? I have concerns too about things going on, but I have enough sense in my mind to know I'm not going to ask those questions right now. I'm not putting them down. You better believe me. I'm going to have questions for Kamala Harris in December or whatever. I'm going to communicate. I'm going to participate, but I don't have them now. But that doesn't mean I'm going to just sort of forget about what my concerns are about the government. No. I think there are more things that need to be done for our community. And I think that, and I told you this too privately, I've had concerns with Obama's office. I know that's shocking to say. I wish he would have done more. And I'll say that on this platform. I wish that he would have done more, because I learned now when Trump was in office exactly how much power people can do. They can make up the rules as they go. I wish in a way Obama would have done that, because we would have been further ahead and protected when he got in office with the Supreme Court and everything else. So that's my controversial little stance. And then that would be my strong conversation with Kamala and Ms. Harris with all those things going forward. Please don't sit up there and be this good, nice, civil person. You can't do that with the way the country is now. So that would be the conversation after the election. Right now, I'm just focusing on
getting her in office.
Yeah, I'm just focused on getting. You know what? To be honest with you, I'm just focused on making sure America is safe again. How about that? Not great. I want to make it safe again. I want to make it sane again. I want to make it nice again. I want America to be filled with solutions again. We have a lot of problems. And I think people who are voting for Biden or Harris don't mean that we don't see the problems. We're tired of listening to people just use rhetoric and a lot of pointing and all that kind of stuff. You don't have no solutions for the homeless. You have no solutions for the issues with the immigrant. You have no solutions. We need solutions now. We don't need more anger and problems. You dodged the bullet, allegedly, or whatever it was, and you're now out there still lying about the Heritage Foundation. You lie all the time. I'm tired of that. We're moving away from that. Plus, you're too similar to Russia, because you're trying to imitate that man over there. He's been in office for over 2 decades.
Right.
Now you're telling your Christian Ku Klux Klan, I don't know, these kind of people, you telling them it's going to be fine. Let me get in office in November and I'll be in there for another 20 years myself. Because I hate the 22nd Amendment. I don't see that as anything. So yeah, I have concerns, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm focused on just making this country safe again. I don't live in New York City all my life, and we've gone through many things. And when we were in a state of emergency, we had issues after September 11th, but we weren't so focused on. We were focused on making sure the city was safe again. So we had to all come together at one point. The same thing that happened in the pandemic. We are America, and there's always going to be issues here. Obviously, it's for us because we came here, and it was devastating for our people. That devastation is still not healed. But do we go? Do we come to the table all the time and say you got to meet our devastation first? No, we participate and try to help, but we still have those concerns. So I think that people like Amanda don't get that. Like, sister, I have concerns too, but I'm focused on making sure America is safe again. That's my main focus. Safe for you, mind you, Miss Amanda. Honey, I want to be safe for you, because if you get in a relationship or anything happen to you, I don't want you going to some forsaken city and get caught out there with bad medical care, honey.
Right. Exactly. Bad medical care. You know, you can't vote. You can't use your voice. You definitely won't be on IG screaming and hollering at people.
You
wouldn't be able to do that.
Right. So because whoever Trump wants to get in bed with, that would probably be the dictate to the country. Like, okay, you can't use IG no more. It's too free. So we're going to use some kind of thing from Russia or from something from Korea or something. Yeah, we don't have that luxury right now. We don't have the luxury. We don't have the
luxury to be lazy and sitting at home. We can't allow the situation that happened with Hillary Clinton happen with Kamala Harris. Right? Because a lot of us didn't vote. And I'm gonna tell you straight, I didn't vote for Hillary. But a lot of people didn't come out and vote because they thought she won. Because the way they were spinning the thing, it was like she won. We can't do that. No. James Corville said, yeah, we cannot sit back and just take what's happening right now for granted. You cannot do that. You have to go vote, because this is all the honeymoon stage. This is all is grand, and people are showing up to the rallies, and 160,000 women, white women, showed up and showed out for Miss Harris. Okay, 160,000 white women. They broke the internet. They broke the Zoom call.
Oh wow!
So it's not Beyonce's internet anymore, honey. It is Kamala's internet, baby.
Right.
No, for real. 160,000 women showed up. White women. On Twitter, all the white men for Kamala showed up and showed out so much so they raised $4 million, and then Elon Musk shut down their Twitter page. Okay, Mr. Freedom of Speech.
Right.
Okay, he shut their page down. Okay,
which we knew was going to happen. That was the reason why he brought Twitter. He brought it because he was so afraid of this next election. He wanted to get in there and make sure that people have hurdles. That he did exactly what people thought he was going to do. So as soon as this stuff started going in the right direction, here he come with the BS, with his crazy self.
Right. So I'm telling you, people are showing up, they are showing out, and it is scaring Trump. That's why Trump is trembling in his way. 1 minute, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna debate this woman, and that's what he said today. And then he said, well, I'm gonna go to the debate, but I really don't have to. I don't have to come. I don't have to show. I already did my debate with Biden. He's not going to show up because he knows she's going to get that ass up.
Right, but the thing is, so he's so stupid because the thing is, Biden is not going for president right now, honey. Right now, it's Harris. So you do have to come there to debate. You debated the person who's not running for office anymore. You now got to go debate the person who's running now. I mean, don't he know the base level of civil? Come on.
No, he doesn't want to debate her because what is the term? Criminal versus prosecutor, right?
He has post-traumatic stress from being in the courtroom, and say he's about thinking this one about to lock him up. If he said the wrong answer, if he get up there lying and like, she about to get me too. The simple fact is, I hope that he does man up, and because the thing is, he said he was the toughest thing in America. He dodged that thing, and now he out here saying I'm tough. Well, you that tough. Well, the thing is, we always know, at least I know, and you know this too. That's being a black woman. Ain't nothing more scary to a white man, especially a man like that, than a black woman on his ass. Come on, right. That's just what it is. Right. We all know this in this country. You want to make a white man tremble in his boots? You get a black woman get his ass together. He be like, I'm not. I cannot. I'm not going to do that. I'd rather go to the army. I'd rather go and get
right.
I'm not going to do that. Because she will get him together like one of my favorite actresses, Miss Felicia Rashad. Remember that scene where she told Elvin, "Let me tell you something, Elvin. Let me."
Right.
Right.
Yeah, he's scared, honey.
He should be
scared. Panicking. They don't know where to go, so they're gonna use racism. They're gonna do it. Oh, she's a DEI hire, whatever. Oh, she's not smart.
So
what I think they're going to do as well, Mel, I think they're going to keep bringing up the fact that to get more young Black voters, and especially young men, they're going to keep pushing that narrative that she put 1,000 Black men in jail behind marijuana, which is a total lie. Okay. And I'm going to debunk those lies too, because I'm going to put it out here. I am going to definitely talk about that probably on Wednesday. What's the day? Yeah, probably come back on Wednesday and talk about it, debunk some of this stuff that's going on and what they're trying to. They're going to come out hard. They really don't have a solution as to what to say, right?
That's right.
Because to talk about her being a DEI, we don't want to hear that. We know that she's educated. Okay, she went to Howard. She was an attorney. She was a senator. She's way more qualified than Trump will ever be, right? So So you have all of that. It is so much just. It's going to be racism. We don't want to hear that anymore. We don't want to hear about how America is so devastated and what a rut America is in right now. Matter of fact, gas is down. Gas is down. Inflation is down. What are you talking about? The stock market is still good, right? What are you talking about, sir? We're dying over here. This country is in a shithole. Who says that? Why would you want a person like that anyway running your country? And that's the way he feels about America. Wow.
You remember? I know. Remember, I showed you. I texted you when I was I was sort of lightly debating a conservative person. That they were going to this and that. I said, you know what? Let me tell you, because I was going to get in back and forth and the thing like they do. I said, I cannot vote for a person who says the terrible things that he has said in the past about the veterans, about the people who have died for the country, and also allegedly about his attempt to avoid serving the country. So he cannot get out of that. He can't escape the fact that this is his history when it comes to serving the country and how he talks about the people who have passed away for serving this country. He can't escape that. So the idea that he was, that he escaped that situation, now he's this war veteran, he's not. Let his record be, the truth. The simple fact is he doesn't love this country, in my opinion. He really don't. Another thing too, I don't like, it makes me laugh because we know this. MAGA people talk about this idea. The biggest lie, one of the biggest lie the MAGA people say is how easy the African-American person has it in this country. Are you crazy? African-American waking up and under the weight of all the stuff we got going before we hit the door have worked harder than somebody who's not African-American in this country. That is just the case. Me getting up and showering and, getting myself together and go out the door. Oh, here I go. I'm about to go out here and face this. What I got to do. I have worked harder than somebody who is in a law office who is not an African-American person. And I have not even met.
Okay, there you go.
And I have not even gotten to the office yet. We work harder before we even get out the door in this country than most people who work 8 hours in this country.
Yeah.
So so the idea to this, the labor stuff, that lady has worked very hard. She worked 500 times harder than most people in her class. The same way Viola Davis said that me and Meryl Streep, who I love, we were in the same class, and I worked about 500 times than she do, and I still get 200% less than Meryl Streep get. And we the same age, and we got the same credentials. We had the same teachers. Right. So the simple fact is, this way, and also all the names they called her, like, oh, she slept with this one, or she got the shortcut, she had the easy. She already heard that in her job, being the DA and all that stuff in the legal field, because all that stuff is happening in the law schools too. Mm-hmm. But the simple fact is, they tell you to keep your mouth shut and keep it moving, and that's the tough field that she was already in. She already heard all this stuff. And that's why when I first got up here, I said, oh, well, you know what? And they want to go down that road, we should just make a T-shirt to say at least all her lovers were legal. At least none of her lovers came back to try to take her to court because it was a crime. That's what we need to do about that. So, if they want to play that game, we got to be the soldiers out here with the memes and on the YouTube and all that stuff. Because I have no problem. I was thinking about opening up a Twitter or something where I could start putting this stuff somewhere and see if I can get it viral, because I have a couple of ideas. Yeah, and I definitely want to put it out there. Like, no, we're not going to do that. This one is human. And plus, I don't believe in a perfect politician. How about that part? Right. I don't believe there's a such thing as a perfect politician. That truly is not. maybe in 2028, but right now we don't have that option. We have a person who is sane, who knows what they're going to do, and I'm okay with that. I don't need her to be perfect. Again, I have issues with the political process in general, with the government in general. But I'm not trying to address those before the election. That would be stupid.
Right. I mean, but if they do bring it up, okay, what have you done, Trump, for poor people? Now, Trump is supposed to be here on Saturday in Georgia.
Oh, God bless you.
Specifically, he's coming to Atlanta.
Oh boy.
But what has he done? What did he do for Black people? Because I don't want to hear about how much he gave to the schools, to HBCUs. I don't want to hear about that, because I'll go dig that information up and we can debunk all that. What's going on now versus what he did, right? He gave the same amount that Obama gave, which was $252 million, something like that, where the Biden administration is giving $7.2 billion to HBCUs. Okay, nobody wants to talk about that though. So all these Black folks that's out here bitching and moaning about this woman about to be put into office, and what has Joe Biden done for Black folks? Weird, eggs a bit hot. All the stuff that happened. Mind you, this man served 4 years. We're talking about Joe Biden. Within 4 years, he got infrastructure bills passed. He got, like I said, gave HBCUs down to 7.2 million. That's the objective. They've already given, millions, if not billions of dollars worth of student loan debt taken off of people's debt, which is huge, right? They said that while we were watching that. It's so many other things that he's doing. Let me remind you, he tried to make a deal with the Republicans with the border. Donald Trump said, do not do that because it's going to make him look good and I need to win. So they scratched that. That wasn't him. That was the Republicans. So they're not worried about the border, really. They don't care about the border. They don't care about that because guess what? They don't live amongst these people that are crossing the border. They don't have to worry about it. Right? So they don't care. I don't have to live over there where these people are crossing the border and they come into these cities and stuff. They don't come over where I live, behind the gates. Okay.
That's interesting.
$1 million homes.
That's very interesting. You said behind the gates. You see, you love movies. You remember that movie called Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
A little bit.
Okay, that movie basically where this idea where it was a society in the future that was ran by uber rich people, and they all lived in these bubbles. And anybody who didn't live in a bubble was filled with cancer, filled with all type of problems. They lived literally on the ground. They were sort of mutants, and they were trying to fight to get into the bubble with Sharon Stone and stuff like that. I sometimes feel like the Elon Musk and Trumps of the world feel like that's the world they want to live with, because the idea that most of the people who support Trump are these people who are living in these bubbles, living on private islands, or thinking about going to a planet. They're not worried about the pollution, the global warming, the homeless issues, the medical issues, the problems, or even the threats from different countries. As long as they can get the tax breaks and the 1% can be protected in the bubble, and they don't care about the masses, and they will use force and they compounds and stuff like that. Because that movie is very informative. It came out in 1990, whatever. But the simple fact is, that movie illustrated that in 300 years in the future, whatever, it was these super rich people who lived in bubbles, and the people who didn't live in a bubble, they were alive, but they were filled with the air was unbreathable, was all type of problems. And I feel that's the future that these kind of people are wanting. That's why you ask simple questions like, okay, what are the solutions for homelessness? Can we make some farms? Can we put people on farms? Can we, why would we want to mess up the woman's health? Because you want to control. So all these things that seem common sense, it's almost like, they don't care about it, because they don't care about the fact that the planet is literally, it's dying. It's dying right before them, and we have a chance to fix it. I think Jane Fonda was saying that it may not even be repairable at this point because they waited so long. And as you just said, they did all that gerrymandering, where you kind of get all stupid in the political process, and you don't let nothing happen. That we're on a time clock now. We have to do the best we can, but we don't want to be uncomfortable in the meantime. So let's try to get some things done. But that movie, because I know you love movie, it always sticks in my head when I think about Elon and them. It's like As long as they can live in this bubble that's clean air and live in their compounds with their fancy cars and go to another planet, which I think is so stupid. They don't care about the billions of people in India, the billions of people in Africa, the millions of people in this country who are literally on the brink of extinction. That's why. Go ahead.
Elon Musk, I mean, he's just another asshole, right? Because wasn't he trying to go to Mars? Because remember, couple of years ago, I was like, why are y'all trying to go to Mars?
Well, we got
why are they trying to get? They're trying to get out of this planet because they're destroying this planet, and now they want to go somewhere else. Well, only the rich people can go. They want to separate themselves from all the mess they have created here.
That's right. That's right. Please, everybody, watch Total Recall, and you would definitely, it'll connect with you so fast. Exactly what these people are doing. It's amazing because everybody in the bubble, they have these beautiful clothes, Sharon Stone, and they all look beautiful, 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 and robots and AI and all this stuff. And all the regular people are literally hundreds of miles down on the ground in dirt and all type of stuff filled with all type of, they can't breathe the air. It is just, it is like, oh, okay. So maybe they watch that movie and say, oh, this could be the future. I don't care about the millions as long as I could be in some Jetson bubble where I can filter my air and have all the stuff up there. And I think in the bubbles in that movie, it was like $100 million just to get in the bubble. You had to be high level to get in there. And everybody else who didn't have 100 million, you may have had 50 million, you still was in the dirt, basically. So it was a really good science fiction movie, but it kind of makes me feel how this planet is going,
That's where we are going. That's where we're headed to. Yeah, I totally agree with you. That was their whole purpose of trying to go to Mars. Right? We got to find out if Mars has water on it or something so we can go to Mars and separate ourselves. I mean, this Elon Musk wants to fly, didn't get on his little ship and go out of this atmosphere.
Right? Yeah, I think so. With some
SpaceX or whatever it is. That's another devil. So I can't stand Elon Musk. I cannot stand him. You already know. I think he's an alien. He doesn't belong here. Him or the other one, Zuckerberg. I can't stand them. I really cannot. Yeah. You should not have that much money, and there are people starving. Where you should just be paying taxes and just helping people. People should, if you need to put them on a farm and put them to work, put them to work. Make sure they have housing. There should not be homeless people in this country. There really should not be.
Well, because I'm not sure if you do, but my family back in the day, we used to do these in summertime. We used to go. We used to do the what is the thing? The cross country little trips in the car. Sometimes we would just go to different states, and we do. And there's so many cities in this country, which I didn't know. My family would teach me. Well, you would go into a city, and it would be maybe thousands of people there, in a big old city which could have had millions. There's so many abandoned warehouses in Detroit or Nebraska, or that's been abandoned since almost like the 1970s. Like they're ghost towns. They even made pictures, have been documentaries. Like there's so much land we have, and a lot of times we get focused on Atlanta, on New York City, on San Francisco, on California. Everybody migrates there because that's where most of the money goes from the government. Mm-hmm. So you can have different resources and things like that. But when you go to these different places, which are like fentanyl zones and meth zones, where people are just literally in this these warehouses with no access. Oh, God bless us, Miss Sunny, dirty water. What about Flint? Places that are not really getting the treatment that the big cities and other places get. So you can't really live in those places. But if they put the resources in those parts of the country and clean up the water and maybe get the farms out there and then ask the people in these different communities, even the immigrants, say, hey, listen, we have all this land. We're actually going to start making farms around this country. We're going to clean up the water so people won't be getting sick from the water. Would you be interested in coming out there and it'd be almost like a commune where you can produce different things and maybe we get solar panels, produce some energy, clean up. Like, I'm not a politician, but I have ideas.
Right.
Because it made no sense to have all this land, but yet we want to fly off into Mars.
Right.
And then, and make more pollution. Even the Bitcoin, I was doing the research about that. I'm not sure if people talk about that now. That has raised our temperature on this planet by 25%. We take these new technology that these billionaires come up with, and it raises the temperature of the planet. So we have to fight that, And also, it was this documentary with this homeless person, and they kind of arrested him because he knew Miss Sunny so much about bees. He said, "Oh, I love bees," but he lost his house and everything. He was literally trying to. If people understand bees. Bees are almost like critical for the environment. So he was trying to get the bees to in different communities he was at, and the people thought it was a nuisance. And he was actually trying to start the bees nest, which was like a really good thing for that community. So there are people in these communities who know about farming, who know about different things. You need to interview these people from different countries. You need to interview the people who are here, who are homeless on Skid Row, and ask them about their lives and see what kind of skills they have. And I bet you those skills can be used in these different cities if we clean up the water. I would ask Carmel about that. So listen, we have a lot of crisis. Can we clean up the water? Because I'm feeling sad for people who are drinking rusty water in this country. That makes no sense.
I'm feeling sad for the people that are, the people that are hooked on drugs. This fentanyl and all stuff. How is this stuff coming in the country?
Yeah,
because they're allowing it to come in the country. Same way they allowed the same way they put crack into urban neighborhoods.
Yeah,
it was the government did that, and it was a Republican government, and it was Heritage Foundation who did it, trying to wipe out Black people. We're not stupid anymore. This is why they want to get rid of the internet. And this is why they want to shut up women. And this is why they want to make Black people and people of color, not get education, not a proper education, right? Because they want to put it in their Christian schools so they can read the Bible. These people are weird people. Now, that's the new word that the Democrats are using, weird.
I know it. I see it.
They're weird. They're very strange. So their ideas is so they, as white men, can be on top. And I'm coming for JD Vance's gay ass too. Sorry for saying that, Mel. But you said I could say that.
Say what you want to say. That's okay.
I'm coming for him because I told y'all
he got too much sugar in his tea.
LGBTQ. Trust me.
He got too much sugar in his tank, Miss Honey.
What you're not gonna do, because now I'm getting irritated. You're not gonna sit up there and try to tell a woman he don't like women. He can sit there and say how much he love Pusha. He love Pusha lie. He don't love Pusha like that. He gave Pusha because he wanted to sow his seed and have some babies. He does not like women. Okay, his LGBTQ friend just came out and she's letting out all. It's a he now because she's transgender. So she transgendered into a man. But she was really good friends with him. You haven't seen that?
No.
Yes. She transgendered. It's a guy now. Or he's a man now. Is that the right way to say it?
Wait. He was born a woman and transitioned to a man.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So my whole problem that I have with them is people like JD Vance who sit up here because it's all about money for him. That's it. These Peter Thiel, LGBTQ, who gives millions and millions of dollars that's the PayPal man, gives millions and millions of dollars to the Trump administration. Like I told y'all where he got basically he gave millions of dollars to JD Vance to get to where he is right now. And he went and he asked Trump for JD Vance, and JD Vance, who has no skills in politics, but became senator because he had the money man, his friend, possibly lover, got in there. Okay.
Wait. Can I say this?
Indian wife, huh?
I was gonna say, you remember the documentary, and I didn't go too dark. Remember the documentary about Epstein and how they said he wasn't just unfortunately being predatory towards young girls, but that one of his supervisors was this man in the middle of the country that's like the billionaire, and he was his lover. So the documentaries are telling that they have this like elite kind of LGBT kind of ultra conservative thing. That's why it's a whole lot going on in my community that's been going on for years. But yeah, me and you, we said this a couple of years on your show. Like people get up there from 9 to 5, say, "Oh, this is wrong," again, protest the drag shows, stuff like that. But then go to their hotel room with the girls and the people from the community having a good time getting handcuffs and all that kind of stuff. And then they go back and lie with their family and the 2.5 kids and pretend that they're a Christian person, and they go to the closet. They have all that stuff there. So, you know, it's who knows? I didn't hear the story.
I don't like the hypocrisy of it. I can't stand it. I can't stand Lindsey Graham. I don't like the hypocrisy of it.
Yeah, live your truth.
No, you can't sit up here and do your dirty dirt in the bag, but then you trying to hinder other people who are in your community. You're hindering people in your community. Oh, because you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be doing that while you out here doing it. Child, you better go on Twitter. They talk about Lindsey Graham and his sexapades, baby.
Because you know what? I think at the end of the day, now we're in an age where people are like, you know what? I'm just going to blatantly lie because I know that power is in money. And, you know, as long as I get the money, I can do whatever I want to do. I don't care what the laws of the land are. I don't care about a woman's right. I don't care about, you know, LGBT right. If I have enough money, I can do whatever I want, no matter what I am privately. And I think that that's kind of where we at, you know, and I think, you know, people that live that kind of way, they will get exposed. But I was going to say, when you were talking about our community, I told you about this book, Mr. Carter J. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. That's going to be in my next reading list. And that's definitely something that what you were saying earlier about how, you know, the miseducation of us and the things. Yeah, that I'm rereading a lot of different wonderful books. I'm still working with James, this wonderful book about Huck Finn, which is a retelling of that story, which I'm loving right now. So yeah, we definitely got to just do the work. You know, keep our prayers up. You know, keep inspiring each other. Keep on, you know, doing it, and also commit that after November, it don't end. Whatever happens, good or bad, it don't stop. You know, I think that maybe, you know what, maybe that was a problem before with Obama. I know a lot of us. I know for me, after he got on, I just cruise every couple of years. I just do my little vote. I didn't really know about the stuff going on until the pandemic. So now we have, you know what, we have to take accountability for ourselves. So you know what? Ain't nobody going to save us except for ourselves. And I do believe that participating and not just waiting every 4 years, I believe that alone, Miss Sunny, will make a lot of changes. No matter who's in office, I really do believe that. Because I think at a certain point, even if Trump was there, and I don't want that to happen, he would have to take us seriously. Like, damn, they're not just going to sit around and wait every 4 years.
No, because it'll be an uprising.
Yeah.
So he ain't going to have no choice but to take us. It will be an uprising.
Yes.
And it won't just be people of color. I really believe that.
No, I believe that too. Yeah, I believe that because
you thought the Black Lives Matter was something. It will be an uprising.
Right.
I can almost guarantee you that if that man gets elected and they start implementing that Project 2025 agenda, you're gonna have a whole problem on your hands.
The only time I actually got a little nervous because I'm cool, but when she said it was 99 days, I said, "Oh, that's not enough time."
It's 98 days now.
Oh, I said that. Wait, that's going too fast. But because you know, she said some of the official ballots, like the official count, will start in September. That some of the counting with the vote will be starting in September. I said, oh my gosh, because I know, and we have votes, we have elections here in September and in November. But the votes in September, not necessarily that they don't count as much as the one in November here. So I don't know how the other states work, but our official count for the national election usually start at the end of October and November. And I think if it gets complicated, it goes to December. But I didn't know that other states will start counting their votes in September.
Well, because then they already have like 14 million people already went out and voted.
But wasn't that
for the Democratic Party? And that's the reason why they kind of got upset. But she gets those delegates.
Yeah.
So anyway, y'all need to find out what's your earliest if you're registered to vote. Okay, I look mine up. I'm registered to vote. Be sure to look up if you're registered to vote. When is your early voting day? I suggest get out and vote early. Reason being, it's going to be so many people at the polls. And when I'm telling you, when I've been looking at on Twitter, these people keep saying a red wave. They are going to come out of the woods, honey, and they are going to vote for this man. Okay. I don't know if it's going to be 75 million, but it won't be what it was back in when he first ran. Because I don't think it's going to be that high. but it will be millions of people because he still have millions of supporters that believe in him. And some people aren't going to vote, right? So right now, Kamala is ahead with popularity. Popular vote ain't gonna make it. Let's be very clear. She's popular, but that's not going to get her in office. Because guess who won the popular vote? Hillary Clinton. So I'm just telling you.
Yeah, well, we got work to do. We got work to do.
We have 98 days left to get out there and do it. So yeah, I will be coming on 2-3 times a week now up until the election.
You know, I was gonna say, do you think that
on my phone at somewhere having a cocktail or something, I'll come on and talk. What'd you say?
You said we got to. I was gonna say before you go, I was gonna say, do you think that when you talk to your local officials down there, or at least somebody in the office, I think they might be prone. Do you think that maybe they might want to come to your show to talk more about, especially in Atlanta, about how things go and stuff like that? Because I was thinking about that too. See if I can get somebody to know about your show here in New York City. I'm not sure if it even would, do anything, but it'd be good. Wouldn't it be nice if we can get some really workers in those offices to come and call in and talk or whatever? That might be interesting.
Yeah, I could try to work on that. Hey, University with Marie.
Yeah.
I should try to work on that. Try to see if we can get somebody to come up here and talk about,
talk
early
about
voting.
Yeah, or early voting. Find out who your local officials are, and I keep stressing, and people get lost in it. Learn about your local community board. Everybody has one, especially if you're Democrat or Republican, whatever it is. But if you find your local community board, you can be a part of that. And if you get on there, just like the Supreme Court, you'll be there for years. You will sit there and you will be a part of the stuff that's going on in your community. So, learn about your local community board. Find out who represents you. And also, like Ms. Lane said, make sure that we only got 98 days. Find out exactly if you're registered to vote, if they got your right address, because I've heard people say that their cards are going to the wrong address, and mysteriously everything's getting a little confused. So make sure that your address is on point, and your name is spelled correctly, and your birthday, everything that identifies you. You just want to double check, because when you get to the day of, they can use any reason they want. So, your address is wrong, or your name is spelled with a J and it's supposed to be spelled with an M, or whatever. Make sure everything's on point this summer.
Yes. I am going to, let me drop some channels in here. University with Marie. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Keep on talking now.
No, actually, I actually want to drop down. I get up in the morning, but it was good coming in real quick. For a little bit. But yeah, I'll be back, and everybody have a good night.
Thank you, Mel. I'll see you maybe on Wednesday.
All right. Sounds good. All right.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too, sweetie. Okay. So let me drop Marie's channel in the chat for whoever doesn't know who she is. She talks about pop culture. And she's super funny and she's fun. Okay. So yes, thank you, Marie. So yes, I take no chances. I went to the courthouse and obtained an actual voter ID so they could not try anything to stop my vote. Right. Because they're trying to stop the vote. We can't let that happen. We cannot allow them to stop our vote. Okay. They're doing everything they can. They are cheating, as they would say. They are cheating to get there. I mean, Elon Musk just shut down people's site. So people's page, so they wouldn't raise more money for Kamala. So it's a lot going on. But like I said, I'll be back here. Today's Tuesday, Wednesday, probably Wednesday or Thursday. And we're going to try to debunk some of these lies about Kamala Harris and while she was attorney in California. And also on Sunday, we will be back to talk more about Project 2025. And then on Monday, I will replay, because I believe Joy Reid is coming back on again on Monday. She's going to talk more about Project 2025. I am going to put Project 2025. I'm going to talk about it so much that you all are going to be dreaming about it. And you're going to get up, you're going to talk about it, and you're going to talk to your peers and people, and you're going to start debunking these lies, and you want people to understand what Project 2025 is so they can get out and get the vote. Get the vote and vote. That's what we want to do, because we are not going back. Okay, y'all say that. We are not going back. All the women here, we are not going back. We're not. And that's on period. All right. Okay, so I love you guys. Norris, you still have a channel? Let me look you up real quick. Yep, Norris Tony still has a channel. Are you still talking about food and stuff, Norris? I don't know if he's still here. But anyway. That's Norris Tony channel. Go subscribe to his channel, and please subscribe to Universal Tea with Marie. Most of the people here know Miss Val. Val comes over here. This is a good friend of mine. She has her own channel. A lot of y'all already know that because a lot of y'all come over here from her channel because she sent people over here. Anyone else has a channel? Let's see. Well, Norris, you should get on and start talking about Project 2025. Even if it's for 30 minutes, I'll be glad to come over there and sit down with you. Tawana to Inspire has one. I'll come over and talk with you. Now, Tawana has what? Let's see. Tawana to Inspire. I see the to want to Inspire TV. Okay, there it is. There we go. And then she had to want to Inspire has a challenge. She does like do-it-yourself stuff. She also shows stuff on like cooking foods and holistic stuff that she does on IG. So we want to stay positive, and we definitely want to there you go, to Inspire. Hey, Red Labels. So we definitely want to stay positive, get out the vote. I'm hot flashing, you can see it in my face. And get out the vote. Make sure you talk to people. And you're welcome, Tawana. Make sure you talk to people about voting. You talk about Project 2025. Please remember, when you do this, when you talk to people, you will tell them that women, they are trying to take away women's rights. They are taking away our civil rights. Give them bullet points. I don't care what it is. It's 925 pages. I'm sure you can find something to tell people the reason why they should be voting for Kamala. Okay. Now, why did Kamala Harris have Megan Thee Stallion? Well, you know, Donald Trump had Hulk Hogan. This is Atlanta. You got to have something that's going to appeal to these young folks out here. This is a whole different breed. When I'm telling you, she had Quavo up there too. I try to get tickets, but this is a different mechanism. When I'm telling y'all that Atlanta is different than anything you've ever seen in your life, I'm not lying to you. That's real talk. So for her to get Quavo to get up there and have a conversation, and to get Megan Thee Stallion to get up there and do what she does, all kudos. You got to do by any means necessary. You got to get these people out here to vote. These young people, because you know, Donald Trump is coming here on Saturday. So I can just imagine what he was going to say. Beyonce, probably not. She'll probably be at the convention. Rihanna, she has children. And everyone is at the list. But she did pack the, it was sold out. The arena that she was in was sold out because I was looking for tickets. And my stepson was like, oh, no, it's sold out. Okay, so anyway, because I was going to film it, honey, while like, look, I'm behind Kamala. Y'all would have saw me with my sign. But anyway, I'm thankful that you all came over here, and I'm glad that y'all still support my channel. Thank you for sharing. I saw Red Label share one of my videos. Thank you, Red Labels, for sharing. Thank you, Universal Tea with Reid, for sharing. Thank you, Val, for sharing, because she shares too. And thank you, Marcella, for sharing. You all, if you have channels, please, it doesn't have to be all the time, but mention Project 2025 to your audience. This is serious business that we're dealing with here. We are in the fight of our lives. We cannot allow the Heritage Foundation to get their agenda into that White House. We cannot allow that, because we as a people and people of color, women of all races, it's not good for us. So with that, like Kamala Harris says, we ain't going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. Okay? Please like the channel, share this video, and we are not going back. That's right. I will talk to you guys in, I guess, on Wednesday or Thursday, like I said, and we're going to debunk some of this, the lies that the right is putting out, the MAGA party is putting out about Kamala. So we're going to counteract everything that they do. You can share my videos. You can talk about whatever, take whatever you need, clips or whatever you need to do from my videos, and talk about it to your audience. Because a lot of y'all, some of y'all have more people than I do that come to my channel. I don't know. Talk to everybody. Okay? Because we are not going back. I love you guys. I'll see y'all on Thursday, and I definitely will see you on Sunday, and probably again on Monday. Love you. Y'all have a good night.